Chapter 29-22. At the same time, perfected cultivator Qin Ping also looked up at the sky. He seemed to have sensed something. Perfected cultivator Qin Ping immediately left his cave abode. He pulled a disciple over and asked, "Who's the best at divination?" "Ha! Grand Master. It's Uncle Master Ling." "Which Uncle Master Ling?" "Uncle Master Ling Yun. Call him here." Perfected cultivator Qin Ping didn't know which one was Ling Yun. She had long stopped caring about the sect's affairs. If not for the fact that someone broke into the sect and Zhang Ding was crippled, she would probably still be in seclusion. However, there was no sect master in the sect now. She could only temporarily manage the sect's affairs. Soon, a Taoist nun in her mid-20s came before perfected cultivator Qin Ping. Disciple Ling Yun greets Uncle Master. Which sect are you from?" Perfected cultivator Qin Ping asked. "I'm from the White Clouds sect. I heard from other disciples that you're the best at divination in the sect." "I wouldn't dare. There are countless talents in the sect, and there are many who are far better than me." "Alright, there's no need to pretend in front of me." Perfected cultivator Qin Ping waved his hand. "What kind of divination are you proficient in?" "I have some understanding of fortune-telling and physiognomy." "Then help me read a word," perfected cultivator Qin Ping said. "Yes, Uncle Master." Perfected cultivator Qin Ping was thinking about what word to read. At that moment, a bird feather floated in front of perfected cultivator Qin Ping. Perfected cultivator Qin Ping was stunned. He caught the feather. "Help me read the word feather in this bird feather." "Feather, the right ring is the blade, which is gold. The west is gold, and the double ring is the wing. This means that the journey is long and should be on the other side of the ocean. What you care about, Uncle Master, is the origin of the west. Feather is the word double, which implies that you care about something and the person you care about." Ling Yun continued, "Feather is meeting, which means meeting an old friend. Feather can be wings. In the West, when people hear the word feather, they think of angels. So, if you want, you can go to Los Angeles, the city of angels. You'll find something there." "Do you think it's accurate?" "Grandmaster Master, you are a senior of the Tao sect. You should have heard of the words of the Xian men. If you believe in it, it exists. If you don't, it doesn't exist." Ling Yun smiled. "Okay, come with me to Los Angeles," perfected Qin Ping said. "Ha!" Ling Yun looked at perfected Qin Ping in surprise. She originally thought that Taoist Master Qin Ping was only looking for her for divination. She didn't expect that she would be asked to go abroad. Although Ling Yun wasn't a country bumpkin, the furthest he had ever gone out of the province was by train. Unexpectedly, this time, Tao Master Qin Ping actually wanted her to go abroad. "What's going on?" Chen Zhao pointed at the lightning that had just flashed across the sky. "Don't tell me God isn't happy with this name and wants to kill me with lightning." "It doesn't matter. To put it in a more profound way, it is that heaven and earth are the witnesses, the great Tao is the truth, and the great thunder is the proof. Words are the law," Zhang Tianyi said disapprovingly. "What if I put it simply? You are the first one. You have the final say. If anyone disagrees, the heavens will strike them to death with a bolt of lightning." Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. "You guys said that naming is one thing. Now that you've already come up with a name, what else is there? Mary is going to make a deal with Ares, so she wants you to hold the fort." "Hold what fort? Does she want me to kill him after the deal?" "No, she's afraid that Ares will play tricks." "Then what do you want me to do?" "Ares needs to be freed first before he can hand over the method of building a divine kingdom. Mary also needs time to verify it. While Mary is verifying it, we can't let Ares leave." In other words, the three of us need to block Aries' way out while Mary is verifying it. How long? I don't know. Maybe 3 minutes, maybe 3 days. Anyway, Aries can't leave before Mary completes the verification. Okay, got it. Chen Zhao understood what Zhang Tianyi meant. They arrived at the underground base where Aries was imprisoned. When Aries saw the four of them, he calmly raised his head and looked at them with an expressionless face. However, when Aries' gaze landed on Chen Zhao, he couldn't help but frown. He'd lost to Chen Zhao, but he always felt that there was a reason for his loss. Because he'd been in a very bad state back then. If he'd been at his peak, Chen Zhao might not have won that battle. But right now, Chen Zhao gave him a very bad feeling. He felt uncomfortable for no reason. Aries, you belong to me now. Let's start the deal, 23rd Blood Mary said impatiently. She didn't want to waste time. She wanted the method to build the divine kingdom as soon as possible. Aries glanced at the other three. Are you sure you want me to give it to you now? The four couldn't help but purse their lips. This method of sowing discord was too low level. You don't have to care. I refuse. I only agreed to your teachings. I never said that I would give them the method to build a god kingdom, unless they are willing to pay the price as well. Making a deal with me is making a deal with all of us, 23rd Blood Mary said with an unfriendly expression. The 23rd Blood Mary said with an unfriendly expression, even if I get it, we will share it. So, you don't need to use this as an excuse. Aries' little trick didn't work. He didn't like the other three here, mainly because he didn't want them to go back on their words. After getting the thing, he'd kill him. If it was any one of them, he was confident. Even if he couldn't win, he could run. But now, there were still three around him. Even if he was stubborn, he wouldn't attack them at the same time. Aries' eyes flashed. Just then, Chen Zhao said, you better think carefully before you answer. If you refuse again, I can only treat it as a failed deal. I'll drain all your god's blood and feed all your organs to the dogs. Don't scare me, Aries said. As long as I still have the method, you won't kill me. But if I give it to you, you might kill me instead. You're not the only god in this world. The god of light in Norse mythology, Balder, is in Los Angeles right now. If we trade with him, we might get the method, so you don't have to. Aries immediately panicked. If the chips in his hands lost their value, he would definitely lose them. If the chips in his hands lost their value, he'd end up very badly. After all, the four people before him all wanted to cut him up and study him. Fine, I agree to the deal, Aries said. But I want to recover first before I give it to you. He's stalling, Zhang Tianyi said. Chen Zhao, go contact the god of light. Chen Zhao nodded and turned to leave. Wait. Aries shouted hurriedly. Fine, fine. We'll do as we agreed. Remove the seal on me first. Chapter 29-23. Aries finally agreed to the trade. According to the agreement with the 23rd generation Blood Mary, they needed to break the seal on Aries first. When the seal on Aries was broken, the four of them could feel that Aries' power was recovering at an alarming rate. On top of that, he didn't have Milo Tanzik Williams to restrain him this time. Suddenly, Chen Zhao put his hand on Aries' shoulder. Next, Chen Zhao's power increased. Ah! What are you doing? Are you going to break the contract? Aries' shoulder was crushed by Chen Zhao. Smiling, Chen Zhao looked at Aries. I think I need to give you some restraints. Aries stared at Chen Zhao furiously. If you continue to act so rudely, then I can only conclude that you don't want to fulfill the agreement. Chen Zhao could feel that even though he'd crushed Aries' shoulder, it didn't cause him much trouble. While he was recovering his divine power, his physique was also improving rapidly. At the same time, his injuries were also healing at a shocking speed. She had crushed his shoulder, but it barely affected his recovery. For an existence of his level, unless one of his arms was chopped off, he would not be able to escape. Otherwise, it would not affect his combat strength at all. Okay, I've fulfilled my promise to you. Now it's your turn, Chen Zhao said. Ares wasn't in a hurry at this moment. The longer it dragged on, the more advantageous it would be for him. His divine power recovered very quickly. As long as he recovered to his peak state, he would be able to recover. He might not be able to fight 4 people at once, but he would at least have a greater chance of escaping. His procrastination had already incurred the dissatisfaction of the other 4. Chen Zhao took out the black trident. 3, 2, 1. Chen Zhao counted down very quickly, so quickly that Ares couldn't even react. Chen Zhao pierced through Ares' chest. The destructive power rushed directly into Ares' body. Ah! Ares cried out in pain. He had not had time to experience the pleasure of recovery. Chen Zhao threw him into the abyss. Looks like you don't understand me. Chen Zhao glared at Ares coldly. Or maybe there's something wrong with your comprehension. Pull it out. Hurry up and pull it out. Ares howled. Being penetrated by such a terrifying power was simply too painful. It was as if he could die at any moment. If he couldn't dispel this destructive energy immediately, he would really die. Before you die, you still have time to say your last words. Everyone looked at Ares with extremely calm gazes. Looking at a god who was about to die. I'll cooperate. I'll cooperate with you. Ares obviously didn't want to die. I don't want you to waste another second. Even if you do anything useless, I will take it as a provocation. Chen Zhao took out the black trident. In fact, all of Chen Zhao's actions had been planned beforehand. He wanted to give Ares a show of strength. Making a deal with a god. Not only did he need strength, but he also needed to be strong enough. After all, with the pride and arrogance of the gods, they were likely to ignore his words. Ares vomited a mouthful of blood. The destructive energy was still wreaking havoc in his body. He had no choice but to use most of his divine power to disperse this terrifying destructive energy. This also caused his recovery speed to be much slower than before. The damage caused by Chen Zhao's black trident made him unprecedentedly weak. Okay, tell us how to build a divine kingdom, 23rd Blood Mary urged. Ares took a deep breath and said, to build a divine kingdom, you first need to open up an alternate dimension and integrate the divine power into it. The dimension also has to be very large. Chen Zhao glanced at 23rd Blood Mary. This method was simpler than he'd imagined. 23rd Blood Mary happened to know spatial magic. He'd even gotten his spatial magic from 23rd Blood Mary. So, her spatial magic was definitely much stronger than his. That's simple. 23rd Blood Mary was also surprised. Of course it's easy to say, but it's not easy to actually do it. As a young god, you can't carry a divine kingdom that's too big. If the divine kingdom doesn't reach a certain size, it will collapse, and you will die. You only have one chance, Ares said. Ares sounded like he was taking pleasure in the misfortune of others. Chen Zhao, Zhang Tianyi, and Baifla all looked at 23rd Blood Mary. The 23rd generation Blood Mary's eyes were sharp. She stared at Ares and said, you still haven't told me the most important thing. If that's all you've said, I've already tried it. If this is your sincerity, then I won't show any mercy. At the same time, the 23rd Blood Mary said to Chen Zhao, if he still gives me such an inexplicable answer next time, you can just kill him or leave him alive. After all, killing a god is the highest honor. Mary, you're a god yourself. Ares shrugged and pretended to be relaxed. Don't worry. I'm just not done yet. Then continue. You need to find an elemental spirit with the same element as your divine power and communicate with them to obtain their blessings and recognition. You can't just find one type of elemental spirit. It can be a naturally occurring elemental spirit or a soul with the same element. What kind of blessings and recognition? You have to integrate them into your alternate dimension. Why? Why do you have to integrate an outsider into your alternate dimension? Because they're the bridge to communicate with you. In Chinese terms, they're the second primordial spirit. This elemental spirit has to integrate with your alternate dimension and then integrate with the divine power. Only then can the divine kingdom be built. No! Zhang Tianyi suddenly yelled. You're lying to us. Chen Zhao also felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell what it was. Cultivating a second primordial spirit isn't your method at all. It's even more ridiculous to let an outsiders will integrate with your closely connected divine kingdom. What if this outsiders will goes against Mary's after the integration? In the end, it'll just be a gift to someone else. No, you didn't understand what I meant, Ares explained hurriedly. First, you have to get the elemental spirit's recognition. This process must be voluntary. However, the four's expressions grew colder and colder. Looks like you've decided not to cooperate. No, you misunderstood. You really misunderstood, there's no misunderstanding. Zhang Tianyi shook his head. What you said is completely false and can't stand up to scrutiny. If you want to lie to us, you should at least make up a plausible lie. Your lies are too illogical. Don't tell us that we don't understand the power of gods. Everyone here is a master in their own field. We have our own judgment. But you, god of war, you don't seem to be good at making up lies. Chapter 29-24. Ares still insisted that he was telling the truth. However, Zhang Tianyi was sure that Ares was lying. Without another word, Chen Zhao lifted the black trident and slapped it on Ares' back. Crack! Ares' shoulder blade was broken by Chen Zhao. Everyone was furious at Ares. Ares was terrified. He had been exposed right in front of his face, and by a group of fiendish villains no less. They wanted to kill him at every turn. You can't kill me. Ares yelled in terror. No, we can kill you. Zhang Tianyi looked at Ares coldly. You must have heard of soul-searching before. I'll talk. I'll tell you. Ares stared at Zhang Tianyi in terror. Of course, he knew about soul-searching and the consequences. To soul-search, one first had to shatter the soul and then search through the soul fragments. However, soul-searching was too vicious, so most cultivators were unwilling to use it. Just because they were unwilling didn't mean they couldn't use it. Soul-searching was quite widespread. If a normal person used this to threaten him, he wouldn't care. Of course, he wouldn't care. If a normal cultivator used soul-searching on him, with the strength of his soul, he might shatter the other person's soul first. But these people were different. Their souls weren't weaker than his. If they used soul-searching on him, especially when they were strong, he definitely wouldn't be able to stop them. It was impossible for him to resist the soul search of these four people. It was as if he would kill Ares at any moment. To build a divine kingdom, you need the broken fragments of other gods. Ares was shocked. You can't build a complete divine kingdom by yourself. There will always be flaws. Ares looked surprised. I can't build a complete divine kingdom on my own. There will always be flaws. Mary 23 thought for a moment and then nodded. Indeed. I've tried the method you mentioned before. I used my divine right to merge with the alternate space, but I couldn't continue every time. Only a god with extreme power can build a divine kingdom. You're just a young god. Of course, you don't have enough control. Your control and understanding of your divine right haven't reached the extreme either. Of course, you can't build a complete divine kingdom. Only a god who has reached the pinnacle of power can build a divine kingdom. You're just a young god. Of course, you don't have enough control. You don't have enough control and understanding of your divine right. Of course, you can't build a complete divine kingdom. That's not right. What you're saying doesn't make sense. If a god can't establish a divine kingdom after becoming a god, then his divine power will rapidly decline, and his divine right will also return to heaven and earth. If that's the case, then how can this young god grow to the peak? And if you already have your own divine kingdom, why do you have to wait until you've reached the pinnacle to establish another divine kingdom? No, what I have now, or the divine kingdom she wants to build, is not a true divine kingdom, because our divine kingdoms are not perfect. Ares said, among the Olympian gods, only one god has completed this feat, and that is Gaia, the goddess of earth. No other god has done it before her or after her. Ares paused and said, in the beginning, the war between the Titans and the 12 gods was won by Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. Their goal was to destroy the Titans' divine kingdoms and seize the fragments of their divine kingdoms. Almost every generation of gods completed their inheritance in this way. This is the tradition of the Olympian gods. Ares didn't lie this time. He didn't dare to tell the truth because he was the only god here who had a divine kingdom. If the 23rd Blood Mary wanted to build her own divine kingdom, where could she get divine kingdom fragments? It went without saying. This was exactly what Ares was most worried about. But now, if he didn't tell the truth, he probably wouldn't be able to fool the 4 people in front of him with his 3-inch tongue. But when Zhang Tianyi said that he wanted to use Soul Search, he finally gave up. At least he wouldn't die if his divine kingdom was destroyed. But if he used Soul Search, death was the smallest price to pay. So, you're worried that we'll destroy your divine kingdom. Don't you know how to do that? Yes, Chen Zhao answered matter-of-factly. I have a suggestion, Ares said. Ares said, I can help you deal with Balder, the god of light of the Asgard gods, and use his divine kingdom to build your own divine kingdom for your companions. Everyone glanced at each other. Clearly, they weren't interested in Ares' suggestion. What a joke. They couldn't find Balder at all. Plus, they couldn't just let Ares, who was already trapped, go. They had to provoke Balder, the god of light. They weren't stupid. There was no need to do that. Ares looked at everyone's eyes and guessed their intentions. He quickly said, also, the Aesir gods are from a different era than us. The Aesir gods are different from the Olympian gods too. They appeared later than us. Perhaps they found a different way to solve the Olympian gods' divine kingdom's flaw more perfectly. Chen Zhao looked at the 23rd Blood Mary. What do you think? The 23rd Blood Mary was silent. This was a difficult decision for her. It would be great if the Aesir gods really had a solution. But the prerequisite was that they had to find the god of light. If a god was determined to hide, it was almost impossible for them to find him. Plus, they weren't even sure if the Aesir gods really had a solution. So, destroying Ares' divine kingdom was the simplest way for them right now. As for their previous agreement, Ares didn't have good intentions and told them all lies, so the deal wasn't valid. Of course, as the leader, Chen Zhao and the others had the right to explain. You still have time, Ares said. You can go and confirm if I'm telling the truth. How much time do you have? Chen Zhao asked. I don't have much time, but I'm not in a hurry, the 23rd Blood Mary said. At the same time, she looked at Ares. I'll go and confirm. If I find out that you've lied to me again, I'll kill you without mercy. Your soul, body, and divine kingdom will all become my nourishment. The four of them sealed Ares again and left the prison cell. Chen Zhao, do you have news of the god of light Balder? The 23rd Blood Mary asked. Only Chen Zhao had seen the god of light Balder. The others hadn't even seen him before. Chen Zhao shook his head. He'd been lying to Ares when he told him that Balder was in Los Angeles. In reality, after Balder left on Gongdu Island, there hadn't been any news of him. He probably wasn't in Los Angeles anymore. Plus, so what if Balder was really in Los Angeles? He probably wasn't weaker than anyone here. He also had a vitality that was close to immortality. Only the so-called Pavilion of Nothingness parasite could truly kill him. So, they probably wouldn't have the upper hand against Balder. If Balder was in a densely populated area, they wouldn't even dare to attack. Chapter 29-25. Lingyun followed behind perfected Master Qing Ping. However, their attire still attracted the attention of the people around them. It was Lingyun's first time abroad. Perfected Master Qing Ping, on the other hand, looked much older than Lingyun. In fact, perfected Master Qing Ping went abroad once or twice a year. There were even a few outer disciples with blonde hair and blue eyes on Mao Mountain. It was not perfected Master Qing Ping's first time in North America. Therefore, perfected Master Qing Ping was far calmer than Lingyun. They walked out of the airport calmly. A taxi stopped in front of the two of them. Lingyun was about to brace herself and communicate with the other party in her half-baked English. At that moment, a woman passed between the two of them. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. With that, the woman was about to open the car door. However, the woman couldn't open the door even after a long time. The woman was a little anxious. Hey, why can't you open your door? Is it broken? Damn it. How is that possible? My door isn't broken, the driver said. Perfected Master Qing Ping looked at the woman calmly and said in fluent English, "Ma'am, if you don't return my things to me, I'm afraid you won't be able to go anywhere." Lingyun was dumbfounded by his fluent English. In her eyes, this martial granduncle of hers was a stubborn old thing. She was the oldest and the most senior in the entire Mao Mountain. Of course, her cultivation level was also among the top. A woman of this level of old monsters would most likely spend most of her time cultivating, or on the path of cultivation. However, she never dreamed that her uncle master would be so capable. What? I don't understand what you're talking about. The woman was a little flustered and anxiously tried to open the door. Perfected Master Qing Ping's gaze was calm as he just stood there. But even just standing there, the woman already felt great pressure. Who was perfected Master Qing Ping? She was the only woman in the Huaxia supernatural world who had reached the Shangqing realm. No one had ever been able to steal something from her without her noticing. The woman was also stubborn and went straight into the car window. Go to Hollywood, the woman said. Uncle Master. Lingyun had guessed that the woman was a thief after hearing perfected Master Qing Ping's words. So when she saw the woman escape, she immediately panicked. However, perfected Master Qing Ping didn't panic and watched the taxi drive away in front of her. It's fine, perfected Master Qing Ping said nonchalantly. Phew. Carrie heaved a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, the two Asian women did not pursue the matter. If they had yelled at the time, he would have been in big trouble. After the taxi left the airport, Carrie started to check her spoils of war. It was a leather bag that wasn't too big, but its style was quite retro. It was just that he didn't know what kind of animal it was. He wondered if this leather pouch was worth anything. Carrie reached into the bag and pulled out a transparent bottle. However, the bottle was half filled with black sand. What is this? Carrie was puzzled. Jia Liwen touched it again. It was a metal plate that seemed to be made of bronze. He didn't know what it was used for. Was it an accessory? It felt too big. A copper bell the size of a fist, a stack of yellow paper, and a bottle of red liquid. Carrie began to search again and found another wooden box. Carrie felt that the box was older than the leather bag. Carrie shook the box. There was something inside. Just as Carrie was about to open the box, she found that it was stuck to a thin piece of yellow paper. Jia Liwen tore the yellow paper. She opened the lid, but there was nothing inside. Fuck. There's nothing valuable. What a waste of my expectations, Carrie cursed. Miss, we've arrived at Hollywood. So fast. Fast. Miss, it's been 50 minutes. Are you still not satisfied? Do you want me to drive another round? Of course, it's charged. Okay, how much is it? $168. Here's $100. Keep the change. Miss, I said $100. No, Carrie said angrily. Either you keep the $100 or call the police now. $168 won't even be enough to file a case. Fuck, I'm unlucky. The driver had seen all sorts of people. He could guess who Carrie was just by looking at her. Therefore, she was already thanking her ancestors for giving him $100. The driver drove away, cursing. Listlessly, Carrie found a shop that took illegal goods. Hi, Carrie, it's been a while, the shop owner greeted Carrie warmly. Help me see how much these things are worth. The shop owner carefully checked the things Carrie took out. $30. A few minutes later, the shop owner gave her the price. Fuck, are you crazy? $30. I don't even have enough money for the taxi. Look at the craftsmanship. They're definitely high-end handicrafts. And this snakeskin bag. It's the most popular style this year. It's made by a famous Italian fashion master, Milone. My price doesn't include the bag. You can take it back, the shop owner said disapprovingly. The shop owner said disapprovingly, in addition, these things should be made in huaxia. They should be huaxia religious utensils. They have nothing to do with the Italian luxury you mentioned. I'm not selling them. Carrie was furious. She'd spent $200 to and from the airport. Yet, the shop owner was only giving her $30. This meant that she had to pay another $170 for this deal. This didn't include the $12 burger she'd eaten at the airport. She had to admit that the burgers at the airport were really expensive. Burgers that cost $1 to $3 in other places were actually sold for $1 at the airport. Carrie directly swept the things on the table into the bag and angrily turned around to leave. Before she left, she even kicked the door frame. If you change your mind, remember to come back and find me. Oh, you have to pay for the damage to my door, the shop owner kindly shouted at Carrie outside. Carrie turned around and gave the shop owner the middle finger. After returning home, the first thing Carrie did was open the fridge. A strange smell wafted over. Apart from the beer, it seemed like everything in the fridge had gone bad. Fuck. Carrie held the beer gloomily and sat on the sofa. After a tiring day, she was both mentally and physically exhausted. After drinking the last can of beer, Carrie unknowingly fell asleep. When she woke up again, the sky was already very dark. Carrie looked at the time. Fuck, it's already 12. Carrie patted her head. She felt like she was still drunk. She opened the fridge again. The hopeless rotten smell was still there. However, Carrie decided to pick a dish that was not so hopeless as to serve as her dinner. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew, and Carrie shivered. Thud, Carrie heard something fall to the ground in the living room. Chapter 29-26. Jiali Wen turned to look at the living room. It was empty, but the bag had been opened at some point. It seemed that the bottle containing the black sand had fallen onto the ground. Jiali Wen stepped forward and picked up the bottle. However, at that moment, Jiali Wen suddenly felt a powerful force sending her flying. Dong! Jiali Wen's body slammed into the wall. Then, a terrifying face appeared before her. It was a creature covered in red, white, and black fur. It was a tall and intimidating body. Where is it? Where is it? Give it to me. The monster let out a deafening roar. Jiali Wen retreated in fear. She did not understand where the monster had come from. She did not even understand what it was saying. I don't understand what you are saying. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I see. The monster calmed down a bit. Its sharp claws were pointed at Jiali Wen's forehead. Jiali Wen turned her head in fear. She thought that the monster was going to use its claws to cut her skin. However, the moment the monster's claws touched her forehead, Jiali Wen's mind was filled with countless pieces of knowledge. Where is it? The monster asked again. This time, Jiali Wen knew what the monster was talking about. What are you looking for? I don't have what you want. Or, if you want something, take it yourself. Please don't hurt me. If you want to eat me, please be gentle. Maybe you should cut my main artery first. Where is the main artery? It's here. To prevent herself from being swallowed alive, Jiali Wen told the monster the location of the main artery. I don't eat people, the monster said. But I have killed people with my teeth. What are you? Wu Quan. What are you looking for? As long as I have it, it will belong to you. 100 beast steel. What is it? Jiali Wen clearly did not know what 100 beast steel was. Tell me where it is. Wu Quan suddenly moved closer to Jiali Wen's face. Jiali Wen watched as the huge monster approached her. She was so frightened that she retreated to the corner and curled up. I don't know. I don't know what 100 beast steel is. Wu Quan bared its fangs. Its breath was scorching hot. I really don't know. I can feel it here. Hu Wu said, I can feel it. It's very close. Very close. Maybe it's in your body. I have nothing on me. Suddenly, the window shattered without any warning. A black figure roared as it charged towards Yuan Wu and Carrie without any superfluous words. Yu Wu opened its bloody mouth and spurted out a column of fire. Bang! The black shadow was hit by the pillar of fire and smashed a hole in the wooden wall of Carrie's house. Then, a monster about the same size as Hu Wu crawled out of the hole. This monster was pure black, and its body was steaming with an unsettling black aura. As soon as this monster appeared, it displayed an uncomfortable posture. It was filled with an aggressive and bloodthirsty desire. Roar! The two monsters roared at each other. However, the black aura on the black monster's body suddenly erupted, bringing with it a terrifying pressure. Yuan Wu's huge body was pushed back a few steps. Then, the black monster pounced at Yuan Wu. Yuan Shiwu was immediately thrown to the ground. The black monster looked even fiercer than Yuan Shiwu. The two huge beasts rolled and wrestled with each other. Yuan Wu could not get up. The black monster bit into Yuan Shiwu's neck. Yuan Wu immediately spat out flames, but the flames did not do much damage to the black monster. Yuan Wu's resistance grew weaker and weaker. Just then, Yuan Wu saw a sign on the ground. Hurry, use that thing, to smash it. Yuan Wu roared. Carrie, who had been curled up in the corner, did not understand what Yuan Wu was shouting. Use what to smash it with? That sign. Mao Mountain Town's evil token. Hurry! Yuan Wu roared again. What is it? That thing on the ground in front of you. Under Huo Wu's guidance, Carrie was finally able to identify the sign. Carrie gathered her courage and went to pick up the sign. The moment the black monster saw the sign in Carrie's hand, it immediately turned into a wave of black aura and escaped through the broken window. When Yuan Wu stood up again, he was in quite a sorry state. He shook his fur. Carrie held the sign in her hand. Don't come over. I'll smash you with this. Carrie saw that the black monster had run away in fear as soon as she got the sign. She immediately regained some courage, but facing Yuan Wu, she was still filled with nervousness and fear. This sign is used to suppress evil. I'm a divine beast. It doesn't work on me. Is that so? Jiao Liwen looked at the token in her hand, seemingly eager to give it a try. Also, you're not the Mao Mountain sect leader. What makes you think you can use the power of the sign? Can this sign kill that monster? If you know how to use it, Yuan Wu said. What's going on? What's with that monster? Isn't it with you? It's Hey You, a demon, and I'm a divine beast, Yuan Wu. We're natural opposites, like black and white. How can we be together? Then what does it want? The Monument of Beasts. It has the same goal as me. Do you really not know where it is? I don't know. But I can feel that the Monument of Beasts is on you. Carrie searched all over but did not find anything. I don't have it. How is that possible? I can smell it. The Monument of Beasts is on you. I really don't have it. Xiao Wu came close and sniffed at Carrie. Suddenly, Yuan Wu's expression changed drastically. How is that possible? How can you fuse with the Monument of Beasts? What do you mean by the Monument of Beasts? Carrie was still very confused about the Monument of Beasts that Yuan Wu mentioned. It's a divine artifact used to suppress all beasts. Yuan Wu said, I'm a divine beast born from the Monument of Beasts. It's my duty to protect the Monument of Beasts. Now that I've appeared from the Monument of Beasts, it means that the beasts suppressed by the Monument of Beasts have all been freed. What does the Monument of Beasts look like? This was still the question that bothered Carrie the most. She had never seen the Monument of Beasts before, but Yuan Wu kept saying that it was on her. In short, she felt that she was in big trouble, very big trouble. Yuan Wu could not tell her what the Monument of Beasts looked like. Because the Monument of Beasts was ever-changing and had no fixed form. Where did you get the evil order of Mao Mountain Town? Yuan Wu asked. Ha! You mean this thing? Carrie asked. Jiutian Divine Emperor. Chapter 29-27. Of course, the Mao Shan Town Evil Order can also be called the Divine Order of Lini, Yu Wu said. Well, would you believe me if I said I picked it up? Yu Wu chuckled at Jiuli in a very human way, letting her figure it out for herself. Picked it up. The Mao Shan Town Evil Order was one of the treasures of the Mao Shan Town sect. How could she have picked it up? Yu Wu was a divine beast, so he was born with a lot of knowledge. Furthermore, he was born from the Monument of Beasts. The process of nurturing was performed by the cultivators of the Mao Shan sect. As such, he was considered the guardian divine beast of the Mao Shan sect. He knew the Mao Shan sect very well. No one knew how many spells the Mao Shan sect had. But there was no way he would just throw the Mao Shan Town Evil Order on the street. Fine, I'll tell you I stole it. Stole it? You? Who did you steal it from? Yu Wu did not believe it at all. If he had stolen it from someone of the Mao Shan sect, how useless would that person have to be? Furthermore, there were only a few people who had access to the Mao Shantown evil order. A strangely dressed old woman. She looked like she was in her 60s. Her clothes were green. Oh, right, everything in this bag was stolen from her. Yuwu's pupils contracted when he saw the bag on the table. There was a very obvious mark on the bag. This kind of mark was quite common in the spiritual world. Some cultivators who followed the tradition would mark the artifacts they carried with them with their own marks. Seeing the mark represented the person. Yuwu recognized that the owner of the mark was none other than Qingping Jinren. Yuwu could not have been more familiar with Qingping Jinren. After all, he was born from Qingping Jinren's spell. Qingping Jinren was like half his mother. However, the monument of beasts had been passed around a few times among the disciples of Qingping Jinren. At first, Yuwu suspected that Jiuli had stolen it from one of Qingping Jinren's disciples. Yuwu lost his cool when he saw the mark on the bag. How could someone like Jiuli steal the bag from Qingping Jinren? Not even the best thief in the world could have done it. If she had taken it by force, a standard, fully armed group with strategic weapons might have been able to do it. Either Carrie was lying, or Carrie was lying. Otherwise, Daoist Master Qin Ping had intentionally stuffed something into her bosom. There was no third possibility. However, when he thought about how Carrie had actually obtained the recognition of the 100 Beast Steel, he couldn't help but sigh. The 100 Beast Steel was currently in Zhao Liwen's body. Perhaps Daoist Master Qin Ping had intentionally allowed Carrie to obtain these items. But now, all the demonic beasts in the 100 Beast Steel had escaped. Ma Wu was also very weak. Thus, Xiao Wu could only stay by Jialuwen's side. Sanwei came to the bag and reached out with its paw. The first thing he saw was the piece of yellow paper that Carrie had torn from the box. However, Carrie crumpled the paper into a ball. I tore it off a box. In an instant, Hu Wu was enraged. Roar, you damned woman, it was you who let the demonic beast escape. Carrie was scared out of her wits. Are you crazy? You fool. Idiot. You broke the seal. What are you talking about? I don't understand. That box is the 100 Beast Steel, and this talisman is the seal of the 100 Beasts. You broke the seal. Nonsense. How could the seal be opened so easily? The seals in movies and TV series all require a lot of conditions. Because you obtained the 100 Beast Steel's recognition first, you are equivalent to the 100 Beast Steel's master. You naturally have the right to decide whether or not to break the seal. Hu Wu felt very stifled, because he didn't even have the right to vent. Carrie was now the master of the 100 Beast Steel. This also meant that Carrie would be his temporary master. Hu Wu didn't really care about changing masters. In any case, the 100 Beast Steel often changed masters anyway. He had also worked for Daoist Master Qin Ping's disciples and grand disciples. It was just that his current master was Carrie, who was completely useless in his eyes. This was not as wonderful as it seemed. The master's ability determined how much strength he could exert. Especially now, because he had lost contact with the 100 Beast Steel, his condition was already very poor. What is this? Carrie picked up the bottle of black sand and asked, "Don't tell me there's some devil sealed inside." This is black mica gold, used to cast spells. It has a very strong restraining effect against evil beings. What about these? The same yellow paper as the seal. Talisman paper, used to draw talismans. It's a common casting medium for Taoists. Hu Wu said. At this time, Hu Wu took out a few more things from the bag. A Taoist scripture, and a few casting tools. Hu Wu faintly felt that these things were used to train new people. Could it be that Taoist Master Qin Ping wanted to take her as a disciple? Perhaps the demons that escaped from the 100 Beasts Steel were also a test for her. Since you released those demon beasts, then you must be responsible for capturing them. What? You want me to deal with those monsters? Like the one just now? Carrie was about to go crazy. Perhaps she had already gone crazy, and everything she was seeing was an illusion created by her imagination. No, that was a Black Yuga, not something you can deal with. Black Yuga was a demon beast, but it was Hu Wu's twin brother. Hu Wu represented good, while Black Yuga represented evil. Hu Wu was connected to the 100 Beast Steel, and guarded the demon beasts in it. And Black Yuga was one of the demon beasts in the 100 Beast Steel. And it was also responsible for devouring the demon energy of the demon beasts in the 100 Beast Steel. Hu Wu would weaken due to losing its connection to the 100 Beast Steel. But Black Yuga would become even stronger. He represented the evil of the demon beasts. If the demon beasts wreaked havoc outside, he would become even stronger. Although the 100 Beast Steel had a certain restraining effect on Black Yuga. But this was under the most ideal situation. The 100 Beast Steel could be used well in the hands of a cultivator with profound cultivation. At the same time, he also knew how to control Hu Wu to unleash the 100 Beast Steel's true power and suppress Black Yuga. However, the current situation was that Hu Wu himself was extremely weak and feeble. The 100 Beast Steel was still in the hands of a newbie like Carrie, who couldn't even be considered a newbie. Black Yuga had been scared away by the Mao Shan Town evil order. He thought that Daoist Master Qing Ping was nearby. Actually, if Black Yuga hadn't run, both of them would have been finished. It wasn't a joke. If Black Yuga had been a bit more daring, he could have just charged in and everything would have ended. I'm not joking. Those demonic beasts escaped because of you. If you don't take responsibility for capturing them, then every time those demonic beasts kill a person, it will be on your head. Chapter 29-28. Angel Coast. Ashley and Faylai were monitoring the shoreline from the watchtower. Ashley was Faylai's partner. Coastal lifeguards were like police officers. They all had a certain level of danger. The purpose of a partner was to have someone to help the lifeguard when needed. Faylai, do you have plans tonight? Ashley asked. No, Faylai said casually. Going home and spending a beautiful night with my family. Are you interested in buying a house? Ashley knew that Faylai and Faylai's man were rich, very rich. She had only been employed for less than a year and had never been to Qinzhou and Faylai's house. However, her colleagues would occasionally mention Faylai when they chatted. So she also knew that Faylai was very rich. As for how rich she was, she didn't have an accurate idea. Faylai glanced at Ashley. You're selling your house? No, I'm just working part-time, Ashley said. Ashley said, I have a very good house on hand right now. Are you interested? Faylai thought for a moment. She occasionally went to look at houses with Qinzhou. However, most of the time, they used investment as a prerequisite. First, they needed a house with a good market. If it was purely from the perspective of living, their 2 large manors were enough for them to live in. Even if they wanted to change, it would be difficult to find a place better than their own manors. Unless it was pure land, Qinzhou would also be interested. Of course, it had to be worth it first. I can go and take a look, Faylai answered. Ashley was very happy, even though she hadn't finished the job yet. However, she was still very happy. After work, Ashley and Faylai went to her house. It was a high-end high-rise condominium. Faylai had seen many houses before. Seeing the location of the condominium, she had a rough estimate. Faylai followed Ashley into the condominium. It was a laminated structure with a total area of around 450 square meters. From the floor-to-ceiling window on the left, one could directly see the Hollywood Hills. The environment was very good. The condominium was in a bustling street, so the transportation was very convenient. It was also soundproof, so one wouldn't feel any noise even if they were in a busy street. The interior decorations were also very high-end. With Faylai's experience, she estimated that the decorations cost at least $500,000. "What's the price of this condominium?" Faylai asked. "The total area is 475 square meters, and the owner is asking for $6.5 million US. Faylai looked at Ashley in surprise and asked, "Are you sure you didn't give us $4 million less?" One had to know that the price of a square meter in this area was at least $15,000 US. This apartment was top-notch in almost every aspect. Its location, property management, orientation, and environment were all impeccable. In addition, the landlord's own renovation costs were also quite high. Faylai could understand why the house was priced higher than the market price. It was impossible for it to go down instead of up. Although it was not a booming market for real estate, it was not a declining market either. It was a steady increase, so it was understandable that the real price of this house was between $10 million and $12 million US. But Ashley had only offered $6.5 million. This put Faylai on guard. Either that or Ashley had ulterior motives. Either that, or she had been deceived. "Yes, I'm sure the house is worth $6.5 million, Ashley said. "Is there a dispute over the ownership of this house?" Faylai asked. "Don't worry. The ownership of this house is clear. It hasn't been mortgaged twice or thrice." Ashley was a novice broker, but the problems Faylai was worried about were the basics of the basics. If she did not know the exact information, she would not dare to drag Faylai here to look at the house. Some cheap houses had been mortgaged twice, thrice, or even thrice. Then, they would sell it to someone else. After the buyer bought it, the house would be taken away by the first mortgager. It was complicated, but if someone really wanted to trick someone, there would still be buyers who would be tricked. Then I don't understand. Why is such a good house so much lower than the market price? Ashley hesitated for a moment before saying, "Because someone died in this house just 2 days ago. In the past 2 days, the neighbors have reported to the property management that they keep hearing strange noises that make people feel uneasy. The owner is eager to get rid of the house, so he plans to sell it at a low price." Faylai thought about it. If it was just because of this, she did not mind. She was not afraid of ghosts at all. Not to mention Chen Zhao, he could even take care of the kids in his family. "I want this house," Faylai said. "Tomorrow, you can ask the owner to come. I'll also ask a lawyer to come." Faylai first had to confirm if there was a mortgage problem. As long as there was no problem, everything else would be fine. Therefore, it was best to have a lawyer present. As for lawyers, Chen Zhao had a bunch of them. Any one of them could easily solve this problem. Ashley's eyes widened. "Are you sure? It's $6.5 million. Won't you reconsider?" "It's $6.5 million, not $65 million, Faylai said disapprovingly. Ashley did not expect Faylai to be so generous and make a decision so easily. It was unthinkable to Ashley. As for herself, she had to consider the consequences of spending $650. But Faylai was willing to buy a $6.5 million house. "Let's go," Faylai said. "I'll treat you to dinner." After all, Ashley had introduced her to such a good house. Treating her to dinner was also a way of thanking her. Ashley's mind was in a blur. Until Faylai brought her to Marina's restaurant. When she saw the prices on the menu, Ashley woke up in shock. The cheapest dish cost more than $100. "Faylai, it's too expensive here. Don't worry. It's fine even if you order caviar. This is my husband's restaurant, Failai said casually. Also, the most expensive thing here isn't caviar. It's deep-sea diamonds. The so-called deep-sea diamonds were actually the meat of the god of abnormalities. Because the meat was special, it was extremely delicious. It was favored by gourmets and rich people. However, Failai and Chen Zhao did not come often. After all, what was here could be found at home. What was at home might not be found here. Ashley was speechless again. This restaurant had been in the media many times. Among them, the most common ones were the entertainment media. Ashley often saw news of certain celebrities dining at Marina's restaurant and so on. She did not expect the owner of this restaurant to be her partner. Chapter 29-29. At night, Failai went home and told Chen Zhao about it. Chen Zhao didn't think too much about it. So what if someone died? It would be better if the haunting was worse. That way, it would be cheaper. Even if they couldn't sell it, they could live in it. As for people dying, they didn't care. Even if there was a ghost, he could clean it up. As for whether it was 6 million or 10 million, he didn't care. After you buy it, Failai said. Exorcise it. Although the kids could do it too. But Failai couldn't ask them to exorcise her, could she? Chen Zhao was more used to it. Okay, I'll go when I'm free. The next day Failai and Ashley took half a day off. They didn't go to the house, though. Instead, they went to Alex's law firm. Hello, Miss Failai. I'm Richard. Richard knew Failai. Failai definitely didn't know him. Last time, when Chen Zhao and Failai came together, she'd heard someone mention their identities. This time, Richard was personally appointed by Alex. Their law firm didn't specifically serve Chen Zhao's family. However, Chen Zhao was their biggest client. Chen Zhao paid them 40% of the firm's total income. Therefore, the lawyers had to do their job. Hello, Mr. Richard. Failai nodded. This is my friend, Ashley. Hello, Miss Ashley. Richard's attitude toward Ashley was clearly much more distant. Ashley was a bit scared because she was in the law firm. Alex's law firm was rather large. It rented 3 floors of the business building. Every single person walking around here could make her bankrupt and ruin her reputation. She dared to point at the police and curse at them, but she didn't dare to breathe loudly here. Let's go. Okay. Richard nodded. After leaving the law firm and getting into the car, Ashley finally relaxed a bit. Richard drove while Failai and Ashley sat in the back. Failai, this law firm's fees are really high, right? I don't know. Failai didn't know how much Chen Zhao paid Alex every year. She heard that it was tens of millions of dollars. It's free. Any service we provide to you is free. Free? Why? Because she's a VIP of our law firm. Richard didn't explain more to Ashley. She might not understand even if he did. After arriving at the apartment building, the 3 of them went upstairs. Ashley had already contacted the homeowner. The owner of the house was in the apartment. After ringing the doorbell, the back door opened. The owner was a middle-aged man. When the middle-aged man saw Failai, his eyes lit up. Hello, beautiful lady, I'm Tony. May I know your name? With that, Tony tried to kiss the back of Failai's hand. Failai pulled her hand back. Mr. Tony, let's talk business. This is my friend, Failai. She's also the buyer this time, Ashley introduced. What about this one? Tony looked at Richard. He thought that Richard was Failai's husband, so his gaze was provocative. Richard smiled at Tony. Hello, I'm Miss Fayli's lawyer. You can call me Richard. Also, from what I know, Mr. Tony's financial situation is a bit bad, so you'd better pray that this transaction goes smoothly. Otherwise, Mr. Tony might go to jail. Tony's expression immediately became unnatural. You investigated me. Do you think I won't see you for invading my privacy? No, I'm just helping my client find out who she's dealing with and whether it's worth the deal, Richard said unhurriedly. Richard said calmly, this is my business card. If you want to sue my client, you'd better figure out who your enemy is first. When Tony saw the name of the law firm on the name card, his expression changed. Alex's law firm was quite famous in Los Angeles. Mr. Tony, do you have all the materials for the house? I don't want Fayli to come here for nothing. Her time is very precious. Richard still spoke in that calm and formal tone. Honesty is the prerequisite for a transaction. If I find that the ownership of the house isn't clear during the transaction, it won't be as simple as a failed transaction. Tony was a bit angered by Richard's tone and attitude. He really hated this kind of high and mighty attitude. I'm not selling it. Get the hell out of here. Richard still wore that professional smile and turned to Fayli. Sorry, Miss Fayli, for messing up this transaction. But don't worry, I'll make sure this house will never be sold. Then, I'll sell it to you at half the market price, if you're willing to wait a month. Tony's expression froze, but he still didn't want to give in. This is my house. All the procedures are legal. You can't scare me. If our law firm is afraid of heights and you've cheated during the transaction, then this house can't be sold before the lawsuit is over. Miss Fayli is our law firm's biggest client. She pays us $50 million every year. I think our boss will be happy to work for her for free. But how long can your financial situation last? Let me guess, a week. Or two. Maybe Miss Fayli should call the bank and ask if they forgot your repayment date. Tony finally gave in. Ashley was also shocked by what she saw. With just a few words, Richard had scared Tony to the point of breaking down. I'm sorry, Miss Fayli, Mr. Richard. I apologize for what I said just now. Tony was really afraid that Richard would fulfill his promise. No, it wasn't a promise. It was a threat. When he heard that Fayli paid the law firm $50 million every year, he was even more shocked. What a joke. Just what kind of background did this woman have? $50 million was definitely the service of a tycoon. His entire wealth wasn't even enough to pay her a year's legal fees. In this society, the rich could really do whatever they wanted. It was just as Richard had said. She only needed to call the bank. The bank would also be happy to help. So, he had to give in when he had to. He really couldn't afford to offend this woman. Okay, let's start the transaction, Fayli said. Tony obediently brought all the real estate documents to Richard. Even if he originally had some small thoughts, at this moment, all of them were gone. In front of a true expert like Richard, his tricks were nothing more than a child's play. He might very well shoot himself in the foot. Chapter 29:30. Miss Fayli, nice working with you. Tony reached out to shake Fayli's hand. But Fayli didn't. Richard stepped forward and said, Mr. Tony, this place belongs to Miss Fayli now. Please. Tony could only turn around and leave with a smile. When he turned around, he muttered a few vicious curses. Pooh! Tony was about to leave when someone came in and bumped into his shoulder. Who are you? Tony saw that it was a woman. The woman glared at Tony, and he instinctively shrank back. The woman's eyes were fierce. Who's the owner of this house? Carrie asked. I am. Is there a problem? Phalai said, stepping forward. There's something unclean in this house. I'm here to help you get rid of it. Of course, it's for a fee. Sorry, Phalai said calmly. I have a more professional one, and it's free. She didn't care if this unknown woman was really an exorcist. Miss, you might think that I'm joking. Fine, if it was not long ago, I would have also treated it as a joke if I heard the same words. But I'm not joking. Look at my serious eyes and you should know that you're in big trouble. Phalai looked at Carrie. I'll answer you seriously too. I don't need it. Carrie was about to say something more, but Richard stopped her. Miss, if you keep harassing my client, I'll send you to jail, Richard said rudely. Ashley, let's go. Phalai left with Ashley. Carrie wanted to say something, but Phalai had already left. Carrie stomped her feet in anger. She yelled at Phalai, "You'll regret this, woman. At that time, you will cry your eyes out. You will kneel in front of me and beg for my forgiveness. You will beg me to help you solve your problem. Then, I will kick you down. At the same time, I will kick away your arrogance and rudeness. I will continue until you use a large sum of money to beg for my forgiveness." But Phalai had already entered the elevator. She probably didn't hear the rest of her words. Fuck, Huo, is that woman the spiritualist you mentioned? No, she's a normal person. Huo appeared silently beside Carrie. Ordinary people are still so arrogant. Carrie spat on the ground and said unhappily, when trouble comes, I want her to give me this apartment. Otherwise, I won't help her solve the problem. I can see that your luck hasn't fluctuated much recently, which means that your plan will fail. Fuck, I don't want to hear your voice. Carrie said with dissatisfaction. Besides, are you sure you won't be caught by the surveillance cameras if you appear beside me so openly? I am an incorporeal form. Unless it is someone of the same kind or someone with a spiritual connection with me, no one else can see me. Not even cultivators can see me, Ma Wu said. Not even the surveillance cameras can capture me. Yuan Shiwu was not unfamiliar with surveillance. In fact, he was quite familiar with modern technological products. There was once a Mao Mountain disciple who held 100 Beasts tablet, and Yu Wu was very familiar with that person. They even watched dramas and variety shows together. What is formless? To put it simply, you can treat me like air. To put it simply, you don't need to eat dog food, right? No, I still need dog food. Then can you eat less? I earned $2,000 by catching and exorcising ghosts in the past 2 days, but it all went to your dog food. No, your luck has been decided recently. It's your destiny to eat dog food. You can't change it. Also, I want to eat beef today. Carrie felt that she had become very proficient in using words that began with F in the past 2 days. However, Carrie seemed to have accepted a new identity, a new job, and a new worldview. After all, ever since Yuan Shiwu started working for her, her income had greatly increased. Of course, her expenses had also greatly increased. One of the biggest expenses was Yuan Shiwu's food. Imagine a beast that was 8 times the weight of a lion. How much would it eat? Carrie was very upset. Every time she earned some money, it was all given to Yuan Shiwu to eat. But without Yuan Shiwu, she wouldn't have been able to earn that much money. She and Yuan Shiwu were now twins. Yuan Shiwu provided her with magic power, and she provided food to Yuan Shiwu. However, Yuan Shiwu was still in a weak state. This was because normal food couldn't provide it with enough power. So, Carrie needed to catch some evil spirits to replenish Yuan Shiwu's energy. Of course, if Jiali Wen could capture a demon beast, Hua Wu would be able to recover some of his strength. Moreover, he would be able to return more magic power to Jiali Wen. However, Carrie could only deal with a few evil spirits at most. If she had to deal with a demon beast, even the weakest one, she could teach her a lesson in a minute. So, she had no choice but to temporarily find those evil spirits to practice with and give Yuan Shiwu some nutrition. But after a few experiences, at least Carrie wouldn't be scared to the point of screaming when facing evil spirits. Why isn't the elevator moving? Carrie looked at the overweight sign under the elevator button and silently looked at Yuan Shiwu. What are you looking at me for? I'm formless. I can't have weight. Then do you think I'm 1,200 kilograms? Not me, Yuan Shiwu turned his head and said. Carrie kicked Yuan Shiwu's butt, and Yuan Shiwu was kicked out of the elevator. Ding, the elevator moved. Yuan Shiwu silently watched as the elevator door closed. However, when he was a certain distance away from Carrie, he turned into a puff of smoke and returned to Carrie's office. Although Yuan Shiwu was formless, he actually had actual weight. No matter what, after eating so much dog food, the dog food was almost catching up to his weight. After Carrie walked out of the elevator, Yuan Shiwu once again appeared in public. In any case, no one could see him, and Carrie did not care about it. By the way, let's go to a buffet. I think only a buffet can save my wallet. But I'm destined to help you spend money, there's beef in the buffet. That's enough. Okay, let's go to a buffet. Yuan Shiwu instantly threw away his principles. Ever since Xiao Wu had followed Carrie, Carrie's appetite had been unusually big. One person and one beast went straight to the buffet. However, when they got in the car, Carrie also pulled Yuan Shiwu off the roof. If he lay on the roof in his real form, the taxi would probably be scrapped. Right. Yuan Shiwu's voice sounded in Carrie's mind. What's wrong? That woman just now. You wanted her to beg you, but did you give her contact information? Fuck. Why didn't you say so earlier? 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 29-31. Miss, these are for a fee, the waitress reminded Carrie warmly. The high-end drinks were all paid. Carrie's hand froze in midair. She retracted her hand, annoyed. How can that person take it? Carrie pointed at a table not far away. An Asian man's table had a few bottles of high-end drinks on it. He brought it himself. Also, he's the owner of this place. Jia Liwen pursed her lips and was speechless. She took the other food and rolled her eyes. Then she walked to the table with the food. Looking at the Asian man, she asked, "There's no one else here, right?" Chen Zhao looked up at Carrie. "Yes, I'm meeting a friend." Chen Zhao had bought this buffet restaurant not long ago. Chinese people had different tastes for houses and food. Home was a place to shelter from the wind and rain, while food was something to feel happy. The buffet restaurant had good business and was located in a good location. However, the original owner had only transferred the restaurant because he was short on funds. The profit of the buffet restaurant wasn't high. At least, it was worlds apart from Marina's restaurant. In fact, the monthly profit of the buffet restaurant was only one day's profit of Marina's restaurant. The net profit wasn't even 1% of Marina's restaurants. However, the restaurant's advantage was its stability. Chen Zhao also bought the restaurant storefront. Chen Zhao would occasionally come to eat. Of course, Chen Zhao had come alone. Right now, Chen Zhao's mouth was full. Even the beauty before him didn't make him stop chewing. You're just going to let a girl stand there with so much food? There's an empty seat, Chen Zhao answered straightforwardly. Carrie took a deep breath and calmed her anger at this unromantic man in front of her. Still calm, she said, "Sir, I think you'll have trouble soon." Chen Zhao looked up again. "What kind of trouble? Do you believe in souls?" Carrie asked. "Yes." Chen Zhao nodded. "I saw something behind you, something bad." "Oh. What kind?" "In the most popular words, it's the opposite of God, the crazy and fallen dead." Carrie pretended to look at him vaguely. "You've provoked something you shouldn't. Soon, you'll lose everything because of it. Can you solve my problem?" Chen Zhao asked. She put down the food in her hands and sat down opposite Chen Zhao. "That's why I came." "Oh, then how do you plan to solve it?" "Before that, shouldn't we eat first and then discuss the cost?" "How much are you going to charge?" "I need a long-term free card for this restaurant," Carrie said. "Of course, there's an extra $3,000. Trust me, you'll feel that it's worth it." Chen Zhao shook his head and glanced at Carrie's food. "Your price is too high. With your appetite, if you eat here every day, my restaurant will go bankrupt." "Huh?" Carrie looked at Carrie. Jiali Wen did not expect the Asian in front of her to reject her for such a small fee. "Woo woo, come out and show him how terrifying you are." "How should I demonstrate?" "Flip him over and pin him to the ground." "I don't want to do evil. I'm a divine beast. If we can get a long-term meal card, then you can eat big meals every day." "Okay, just this once." Chen Zhao suddenly frowned. He could feel something beside Carrie. He could not see it and its aura was not very strong. However, it could avoid his eyes and ears. Just then, Chen Zhao felt the thing attack him. Puff, Chen Zhao did not move. He pressed the thing to the ground with his small world. "Ah! Carrie, hurry up and take me back. Hurry up." "What? What happened?" Jiali Wen looked at Wu Wu on the ground, dumbfounded. "This man is a monster. He's a monster. Run, run." Wu Wu screamed. The terrifying power suppressed him so much that he could not even lift his head. Jiali Wen's expression changed. She looked at Chen Zhao with fear and stood up to leave. But in the next instant, she was also frozen in place, just like Yu Wu. "Sir. I was actually joking with you. Do you believe me?" Chen Zhao lowered his head and wolfed down the food, not answering Jiali Wen's question. Jiali Wen was frozen to the ground. Like Wu Wu, she was completely suppressed by Chen Zhao's small world. Both Wu Wu and Jiali Wen felt that they were in big trouble. They had offended someone they shouldn't have. Jiali Wen just stood there for a few minutes. The waiter came over. "Miss, do you need help?" "Nothing. Her lumbar disc isn't good and she needs to stand for a while." "Go do your thing." "Yes, sir." Jiali Wen wanted to speak, but her mouth was sealed. After Chen Zhao finished eating, he brought Jiali Wen out of the restaurant and into a small alley. Chen Zhao released Jiali Wen's restraint, but Wu Wu's restraint was still there. Jiali Wen turned and wanted to run. But the next moment, she hit a wall. There was clearly nothing behind her, but she still hit the air wall. She was so dizzy that she could not stand up. Chen Zhao reached out and picked up Wu Wu. Although he could not see, the small world could still clearly feel Wu Wu's existence. So, it did not really matter to Chen Zhao. Moreover, the feedback from the small world was more comprehensive and clear than what he could see with the naked eye. Wu Wu saw that his restraint was gone, but Chen Zhao was still using his hand to grab him. He immediately retaliated and slapped at Chen Zhao with his claws. But the next moment, he regretted it. He felt that he wasn't slapping a body of flesh and blood, but a steel mountain. His claws were immediately fractured. Was this person an enhancer? He had also trained his body to the extreme. He was like the unbreakable Vajra of Buddhism, with skin like iron, bones like copper, impervious to water and fire, and unbreakable by all techniques. Wu Wu was in complete despair. If he was still in his best state, he would not be afraid. But now, he was in his weakish state. Plus, he had a newbie, Jialiwen. How could he beat Qin Zhao? Wu Wu was filled with resentment toward Jialiwen. You can lie, but at least you have a target. You found such a strong cultivator. Who are you looking down on? What is this? Qin Zhao used his hand to feel Wu Wu's fur. It was quite big, more than twice the size of a lion. However, its strength and weight were quite exaggerated. It was probably the weight and strength of an elephant. By now, Carrie was a little more clear-headed. Seeing Qin Zhao grab Hanwu like a kitten, she was speechless. Chapter 29-32. Although Ma Yingguo kept saying that he was in a weak state. However, Jialiwen had personally witnessed Yuan Wu shatter an evil spirit with a single slap. A mouthful of phlegm blew up a villa. As for the weakness he mentioned, Jialiwen didn't know. If this was considered weakness, then what did it mean when he wasn't weak? But right now, Qin Zhao was holding the weak Hanwu by the back of its neck like a kitten. What's this? Qin Zhao realized that he couldn't see it at all. He could only sense its existence. Suddenly, Qin Zhao felt that the thing in his hand was rapidly weakening. On the contrary, Carrie was growing stronger at an astonishing rate. Run! Jiu Wu roared. He transferred all his mana to Carrie. As long as Carrie could escape, he would be able to return to her body. Carrie instantly felt an unprecedented power. This kind of extremely powerful magic power gave her an illusion. Carrie didn't run away immediately. Instead, she turned to look at Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao seemed to understand something. Carrie took a deep breath and shouted, "Explosion." This spell was taught to her by Yu Wu. However, with Carrie's original strength, she could at most send an ordinary evil spirit flying. But now, she felt that she could blow up the entire street. Of course, an illusion was an illusion. Carrie's sudden outburst shattered the glass windows of the surrounding shops. The ground cracked and a terrifying force rushed towards Qin Zhao. Bang! Before the force could even touch Qin Zhao, it was disintegrated by Qin Zhao's non-elemental constitution. The entire alley was in a mess. Carrie panted as she knelt on the ground. She raised her head, but she did not see what she had hoped to see. Qin Zhao was still standing before her, unharmed. Is it over? Qin Zhao looked at Carrie teasingly. Hua Wu's eyes lit up. He said to Jialiwen, "The power you displayed just now was beyond my expectations. You have the potential to become a strong person, but you are still too unfamiliar with my magic power. If you had concentrated your power to attack one point, you might have been able to defeat this man. But I don't have the strength to make another move. I feel like all my strength has been drained in an instant. This is normal. You don't know how to control your power. What you need to do now is to make sure that this man doesn't kill you. Only then will you be qualified to talk about the future," said Hu Wu. Carrie looked at Qin Zhao. "Sir, would you believe me if I said I was joking?" Smiling, Qin Zhao shook his head. "No." "All right then, I apologize for what happened just now. Since you're not injured, let's part ways here, okay?" Qin Zhao shook his head. "Maybe you should go to my cafeteria. Your attack just now caused great damage to my cafeteria. Give me $200,000 to make up for my losses, and I'll let you go. 200,000 US dollars? This is robbery. I don't have it. Even if you sell me, I don't have it. Then go wash the dishes for me, Chen Zhao said matter-of-factly. Or I'll kill you. Choose. Jiao Liwen wanted to be tough, but Yuan Wu said, don't provoke him now. It won't do you any good. What you need now is time. You need to surpass his time. Pretend to agree to him first. When you have enough strength to say no to him, you can openly refuse any of his requests. Carrie thought about it and realized that it made sense. Not to mention whether Chen Zhao would kill her. Even if he beat her up, she wouldn't feel good. It's just washing the dishes. I'll do it. When Chen Zhao brought Carrie to the cafeteria, she couldn't help but click her tongue when she saw the unrecognizable restaurant. It seemed that Chen Zhao's request for $200,000 wasn't unreasonable. The damage she'd caused was really great. In fact, this was just one restaurant. The windows of the dozens of shops on the street had all shattered. If Carrie had to pay for all this, she would probably have to sell her body for the rest of her life. Chen Zhao found the manager and arranged for Carrie to work as a waitress in the cafeteria. The manager was an understanding person and immediately agreed to let Carrie join the staff. Chen Zhao was interested in Carrie because her magic was rather unfamiliar. Also, what was that thing that he couldn't see? It shouldn't be a person or a soul. It was more like some kind of creature. However, Chen Zhao didn't know what kind of creature it existed in. Don't even think about escaping. Before you have enough strength, it is impossible for you to escape from his hands. He must have left some kind of mark on your body. Even if you are hiding underground, he will still find you. Jiao Wu reminded. Carrie was helpless. She couldn't beat him or run. What else could she do? Chen Zhao didn't stay in the cafeteria for long. After making arrangements for Carrie, he left. Because of the unknown explosion, the cafeteria couldn't operate normally. The employees were cleaning up the shop. Carrie was no exception. At the other end of the same street, a black man appeared. I smell Hu Wu's scent and that woman's scent. The entire street is filled with that annoying magic. They seem to have fought with something here. Hei Yu's voice lingered in the black man's ears. A fierce glint appeared in the black man's eyes. Should we devour them like before? No rush. Devour the other beasts first, Hei Yu said. Hei Yu said, but before that, we must first find Ji Wu and the woman that coexists with him. We must grasp their every move. The black man licked his lips. What a pity. The black man was called Ojura. He was a fugitive. He was a vicious thug, a murderer. Hei Yu had found Ojura because of his cruelty and bloodthirst. Of course, maybe they were attracted to each other. Ojura displayed Hei Yu's evil to the fullest. Hei Yu's power also increased by leaps and bounds because of Ojura. One was a natural criminal. The other was a group of evil. The human and beast were the perfect combination. Hei Yu didn't need to tempt Ojura because he was evil. Hei Yu lent him power and he was happy to cooperate. In just a few days, they devoured more than a dozen beasts. Most of the beasts were attached to other people. Hei Yu devoured the beasts and he was violent to those attached. Chapter 29:33. Bang! Hey, you're in the way. Ojura turned his head and saw a sports car behind him. It was honking crazily. A hint of madness appeared on Ojura's face. He smashed the car's hood hard. In an instant, the hood of the supercar was lifted. Chen Zhao saw that his beloved car had been smashed. Enraged, he got out of the car. Bastard, how do you want to die? Chen Zhao roared, pointing at Ojura's nose. Ojura pushed Chen Zhao's chest with both hands. Chen Zhao took 2 steps back, surprised. The guy was stronger than he'd imagined. No, much stronger than he'd imagined. Ojura was surprised too. He'd wanted to push Chen Zhao away just now. He didn't expect Chen Zhao to only take 2 steps back. Such vigorous chi. Kill him. I want his flesh and blood. Hei Yu's voice rang in Ojura's ears. Receiving Hei Yu's order, Ojura smiled cruelly. Suddenly, Ojura turned and ran. Chen Zhao looked at the sprinting Ojura. He got into his sports car and followed. Ojura didn't run into an alley. Instead, he ran toward the suburbs. Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes. The guy's intention was too obvious. He was clearly luring Chen Zhao to chase. Fine, if that's what he wants. Then Chen Zhao would do as he wished. Suddenly, Ojura stopped. It seemed that he thought this place was secluded enough. A malicious smile appeared on Ojura's face. But the next moment, the sports car crashed into him. What? Ojura didn't expect the guy to be so reckless. It was too late to dodge. The sports car was too fast. He couldn't react at all. Bang! Ojura was sent flying. Chen Zhao got out and looked at the front of his car. Looks like I'll have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on repairs. Ojura climbed up in a sorry state, but he wasn't injured. However, his gaze toward Chen Zhao was more ferocious. Yellow monkey, I'm going to break your limbs. With that, Ojura charged at Chen Zhao. But in the next moment, he suddenly saw a fist that was continuously expanding. Bang! Ojura was flipped over by the fist. His nose was crooked and his teeth were knocked out. Chen Zhao shook off the filthy blood sacrifice and looked down at Aurora on the ground. She lifted her foot and stomped on Ojura. Ojura rolled and avoided Chen Zhao's foot. Hey you! Lend me your strength. Hey you! Was it some new cult or malevolent god that appeared recently? In the next moment, Ojura's upper body suddenly swelled up like a balloon. I will make you wish you were dead. Ojura smiled cruelly. But before he could act arrogantly, he was knocked to the ground by another punch. Not enough, I want more power. As you wish. Hey, you didn't care about this bit of power. It was just 1% of what he had. Chen Zhao felt that the man might really be an evil god worshipper. Otherwise, she wouldn't have felt any magic power from his body. However, he had clearly defied all common sense and greatly strengthened himself. Not only did the teeth that Chen Zhao had broken grow back, but they were also 2 rows of fangs. Ojura charged at Chen Zhao again. This time, he opened his mouth. It was as if Chen Zhao dared to punch, he would bite with his mouth. Chen Zhao was almost amused by him. Another punch and Ojura was sent flying again. He also helped Ojura with oral surgery. This time, Ojura looked even more wretched. Not enough, not enough. You can't take more of my power, but I can help you kill him. Then help me kill this guy. After it's done, I want you to give me 10 living people. Deal. Hey, you crawled out of Ojura's body. Instantly, Chen Zhao's eyes opened. This thing again. He couldn't see it. But he could still feel Hei Yu's existence. However, the invisible thing before him was completely different from the one beside Carrie. He couldn't see the one beside Carrie either. But it didn't have any evil aura. If Carrie and Yuan Wu had any, Chen Zhao wouldn't let them disappear before him alive. But the thing before him gave off an uncomfortable aura. However, the thing in front of him was emitting an aura that made him feel uncomfortable. Even though it was invisible, it was filled with evil. The aura was even stronger, dozens of times stronger. There was also that disgusting smell. Even if he couldn't see it, he could smell it. He Yu strolled to Chen Zhao. He clearly thought that Chen Zhao couldn't see him. But the next moment, Chen Zhao taught him a lesson with his fists. Move your stinky mouth away. Chen Zhao punched He Yu's mouth open. He Yu was dumbfounded. Chen Zhao grabbed He Yu's chin with one hand and pressed him to the ground. Bang, 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 He Yu couldn't resist at all. His body was several times larger than Yuan Wu's. But before Chen Zhao, he was no different. Chen Zhao's fists got heavier and heavier. He Yu's head was a bloody mess. He Yu finally reacted and spat out black flames at Chen Zhao. The black flames enveloped Chen Zhao. He thought that Chen Zhao would still be alive. But Chen Zhao wasn't dead. The black flames wrapped around Chen Zhao but didn't even burn his clothes. I didn't expect your mouth to be so smelly, but your flames taste so good. Chen Zhao didn't continue hitting He Yu. Instead, he grabbed his mouth. Spit again. He Yu was dumbfounded. Who was this person? Why wasn't he afraid of his black flames? Chen Zhao slapped him again. I told you to spit fire. Don't you understand? Whoosh, He Yu didn't believe it and spat again. He definitely wasn't cooperating with Chen Zhao. Slap, did you not drink milk? Harder. Whoosh, not enough. Again. Not enough, again. He Yu was about to cry. He'd never been bullied like this before. Ojura could tell that the situation wasn't right. He turned to escape. He knew how terrifying He Yu was. But now, He Yu was being beaten by this man. It was an inhumane humiliation. But the next moment, his body was dragged back uncontrollably. Where do you think you're going without my permission? Sir. Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. Crack, Chen Zhao crushed Ojura's left arm. Ah, it's not a misunderstanding. I can differentiate between misunderstanding and malice. I'm going to find the police. I'm going to find the police. You thug, He Yu found a chance and bit down hard on Chen Zhao's body. Ojura's eyes brightened. Got it. Chapter 29-34. Both Ojura and He Yu thought they had it. But the next moment, He Yu felt a terrifying power. Then, he directly removed his chin. Instantly, blood gushed out of He Yu's mouth. Chen Zhao felt that He Yu's stomach seemed to be calling out to him. Chen Zhao reached out and pulled out an invisible object that wasn't too big or too small. Just then, Chen Zhao heard a voice from the ball of light. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. The thing in Chen Zhao's hand was alive. It wasn't dead. But like Huawu and He Yu, it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. But its aura was different from Huawu and He Yu. Yu Wu was more inclined towards righteousness, while He Yu was completely evil. But now, Chen Zhao was holding it in his hands. It was a different feeling. He was neither righteous nor evil, impartial and seemingly neutral. Chen Zhao kicked the drooping He Yu away and held the thing in his hand. What's your name? Baizhu. What's that? I'm the demon beast Baizhu. I've seen demons before, but you say you're a demon beast. Why can't I sense your existence? I am not a materialized demonic beast. I was born from the heavens and earth. We exist in the heavens and earth, but we do not exist in form. We all have formless appearances. Only those of the same species or those who possess our powers can see us. Lend me your power, Chen Zhao said. Judging from Carrie and Nojura's expressions, they'd probably accepted their respective demon beasts' powers. That was why they could see Huawu and Heiyu. Bai Zhu transferred his magic power to Chen Zhao. The moment Chen Zhao accepted Bai Zhu's power, a connection was formed between the two. In that instant, Bai Zhu felt Chen Zhao's mighty power, which was like heaven and earth. Although it was only for a moment, Bai Zhu understood that the human in front of her was absolutely a terrifying existence. Perhaps only the ancient immortals could compare to him. Also at that moment, Chen Zhao saw Heiyu. Chen Zhao's previous impression of Heiyu was like a blind man trying to feel an elephant. Perception was perception, but it was difficult to use perception to completely describe Heiyu's form. But now, he could clearly see Heiyu's form. He'd long known about its enormous form. It was even larger than an African elephant. It had a black mane and was surrounded by a black aura. However, his chin had been pulled off by Chen Zhao. He was lying on the ground, barely breathing. What's your relationship with him? Why are you in his stomach? Chen Zhao asked curiously. I was eaten by him. Bai Zhu said helplessly. Then why aren't you dead? I was born from the heavens and earth, so how could I possibly die completely? At most, I would be completely fused with him, and my true spirit would return to the heavens and earth. However, my current state can probably be described as not being completely digested. Where did you come from? How come I've never seen you before? Listening to Bai Zhu's words, they should not be the product of some evil cult. We are the true spirits gathered by the 100 Beast Steel. The 100 Beast Steel seem to have been unsealed for some reason, and we have been released from the 100 Beast Steel. 100 Beast Steel. Are you saying that there are 100 people like you? Actually, there are thousands of them, Bai Zhu said. What about him? What rank is he in the 100 Beast Steel? The fiercest one is him, Bai Zhu said. He is Heiyu, born from the same spirit as Yu Wu. If we were born from the heavens and earth and then formed by the 100 Beast Steel, then Heiyu and Yu Wu were born from the 100 Beast Steel using our true spirit qi, so they were born as divine beasts, or kings of beasts. Yu Wu was responsible for guarding the 100 Beast Steel, while Heiyu was responsible for devouring the unclean aura we carried. But after leaving the 100 Beast Steel's control, Heiyu changed. He found us and started to devour us and our hosts. Every time he devoured a beast, his power increased. Bai Zhu glanced at the dying Heiyu. In his eyes, the powerful Heiyu was now like a dead dog. Chen Zhao walked forward and looked at Heiyu on the ground. Murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Leaving this thing alive would also be a disaster. Fellow Taoist, please wait a moment. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Chen Zhao's ear. Chen Zhao turned his head and saw that the newcomers were actually 2 Taoist nuns. Chen Zhao even recognized one of them. It was Qing Ping. Why are you here? Chen Zhao frowned at Qing Ping. Ling Yun looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. Chen Zhao had once gone to Mao Mountain and caused a ruckus. However, Ling Yun had not been on the mountain at that time. Moreover, the people of Mao Mountain were very afraid of this matter and were all unwilling to mention it. Thus, Ling Yun did not know Chen Zhao. He only felt that Chen Zhao's attitude toward Qing Ping was rather rude. That's me. Qing Ping looked at Chen Zhao with a complicated gaze. What? Did this thing escape from your Mao Mountain? No need to thank me. I brought him here. Oh, can I assume that you're the one who allowed the demon to commit murder? If you really want to think so, of course. Qing Ping did not deny it. Looks like you want to fight me today, Taoist. Fellow Taoist, please calm down. You should be thanking me. You know that I'm protecting this area. You're causing trouble here. Why should I thank you? Speaking of which, you have a deep relationship with Mao Mountain. I'm here today to invite you to follow me back to the sect to take charge of Mao Mountain. Ling Yun's eyes widened as he stared at Qing Ping in disbelief. He then looked at Chen Zhao, who was also in disbelief. Are you mistaken? I'm Mao Mountain's mortal enemy. You want me to take charge of Mao Mountain? Are you okay with that? You're a descendant of the Qingyi sect, which originated from the Ma-Yi sect. The Ma-Yi sect is one of the 3 sects of Mao Mountain, so the conflict last time was at most an internal conflict. You can't be considered a mortal enemy of Mao Mountain. I'm not interested in being a Taoist or leading Mao Mountain. I'll forget about this. You can leave. Why did you refuse? Mao Mountain is also a 1,000-year-old holy land of Taoism. Our predecessors have painstakingly passed down our heritage and countless resources. They can bring you unimaginable benefits on your path of cultivation. My cultivation is unparalleled in the world now. Only a few can compare to me. Do I need Mao Mountain's resources? Besides, I have money and power in this dazzling world. Why should I endure the lonely and bitter cultivation of the green lamp? You don't need the lamp to accompany you. You don't need to be lonely in the mountains. You're still you. I don't need you to do anything. Then what do you want? The girl you met earlier. She's my chosen successor. I'll take her as my disciple. You're crazy, Chen Zhao refused without thinking. Chapter 29:35. Friend, do you believe in fate? Don't tell me that she's my destined disciple. Chen Zhao believed in fate. Plus, he'd never thought that he'd have to change his fate one day. Chen Zhao felt that going against fate meant going against the pressure from the surroundings or environment. He didn't have to say that everything fate did to him was wrong. As for if someone told him that he was destined to have a disciple, Chen Zhao didn't believe it. Or rather, he wouldn't accept it. Just because you said I have one. Based on what? Not long ago, I sensed a heavenly secret and found someone to do a divination. The divination was, grievances are cleared, the grey cauldron stands, the sun and moon are both present, and the Kanglan Hall is filled with nobility. Chen Zhao didn't understand divination. What does that mean? The grudge is between you and Zhang Ding, as well as the grudge between the Black Robes sect and the Ma-Yi sect. It's hard to say who's right and who's wrong. There are hundreds of years of grudges, but in your generation, there won't be any more disputes. The grey in the cauldron refers to the Ma-Yi sect. The yi in your name corresponds to the sun and moon. The yi in Jin Gui refers to the Taoist lord of Maoshan's Taishang noble robe. The Kanglan refers to the Kanglan Hall where Maoshan worships their ancestors. Chen Zhao pursed his lips. You can make up a random hexagram. Who knows if it's real or not? This was just like how in ancient times, before a rebellion, one would first create a phenomenon to show that one's rebellion was reasonable and convincing. For example, a one-eyed stone man stirring up the Yellow River and the world to rebel. Chen Zhao felt that Qing Ping Zhenren was like that. Whether it was real or not, Chen Zhao didn't believe it. Just a moment ago, I crippled your sect leader. The next moment, you want me to be your sect leader. No one would believe such a thing. Brother Chen, I don't have to make you believe it, but your connection to Mao Mountain can't be erased. Secondly, that woman happened to have the 100 Beast steel, which is the Ma-Yi sect's treasure. She's also recognized by the steel, so she's destined to be the Ma-Yi sect's heir. You're her guardian. Then if I kill her now, will your prophecy be broken? Qing Ping looked at him calmly. Not only is she related to you, but she's also related to Li Qing. What kind of relationship? Could they be mother and daughter? How is that possible? They're not mother and daughter. They're grandmother and grandson, Taoist Master Qing Ping said. Cough, cough. Chen Zhao almost choked. How is that possible? Sister Qing is only in her early 40s. Jiuli should be in her 20s, right? Li Qing is 62 this year. Chen Zhao's eyes almost popped out. How is that possible? She's 62. Li Qingzhao had sent her son abroad to study, and her son, Li Guowei, had a relationship abroad. Later, this relationship ended. At that time, he didn't know that his girlfriend was already pregnant. After Li Guowei finished his studies and returned home, he married a junior sister from the same sect. However, because he had the experience of studying abroad, his family chose to go abroad to seek refuge. Immortal Qing Ping said. Jialuan is Big Sister Qing's granddaughter, and Big Sister Qing is your granddaughter. What does that make you? Great-grandson, Taoist Master Qing Ping said. Who knows if it's true or not? Chen Zhao pursed his lips. Actually, he already believed half of it. Technology is so advanced now. It's easy to verify if it's true or not. I'll get to the bottom of this. You better not lie to me, Chen Zhao said. But that's a different matter. What reason do you have to stop me from killing this evil beast? He did evil in my territory. I have no reason to let him go. Don't bring up the relationship with me. I have a relationship with Big Sister Qing, but that doesn't mean I have a relationship with you. Back then, Li Qing's family had gone abroad to avoid disaster. As Li Qing's grandmother, Taoist Master Qing Ping was also the great elder of Mao Mountain. Her status was even higher than the sect leaders. However, she didn't help in time, so Li Qing and Taoist Master Qing Ping probably didn't have a good relationship. Thus, Chen Zhao wouldn't change his original intentions for Taoist Master Qing Ping. Jiali when fused with the 100 Beast Steel. The Steel's spiritual beasts are Hei Yu and Biwu. If you kill Hei Yu, it's the same as killing Biwu. If Biwu dies, the 100 Beast Steel is destroyed. If the 100 Beast Steel is destroyed, Jiao Liwen will die too. Chen Zhao was furious. He went up and punched Hei Yu. Hei Yu howled in pain. Venerable One, save me, Taoist Master Qing Ping glared at Hei Yu. Evil creature. He'll stay by my side for now, Chen Zhao said. Then it's fine to kill him, right? He deserves to die, Taoist Master Qing Ping said coolly, glancing at Ojura. Chen Zhao looked at Ojura and flicked his finger. Ojura's body suddenly bounced up. Then, he was squeezed and compressed in a terrifying way. He only had time to let out a blood-curdling scream before he was squeezed into a bowl. Seeing Ojura's tragic state, Lingyun couldn't help but tremble. This was definitely a horrible death that surpassed her imagination. The huge Ojura had been compressed into a ball of blood less than 3 centimeters. Chen Zhao waved his finger and the blood ball shot into the air. Lingyun only felt that the person before her was unbelievably terrifying. No wonder her grand-uncle master had invited him to be the Mao Mountain sect leader. Taoist Master Qing Ping's eyes flashed. Fellow Taoist Qin, you've improved a lot since last time. Taoist Master Qing Ping could also kill someone like that. In fact, it was the same technique and the same ease. But when Chen Zhao attacked, there was an indescribable force field. You've broken through to Shang-Qing state. Suddenly, Taoist Master Qing Ping's expression changed. Chen Zhao's aura was too special. It was completely different from last time. It was as grand and magnificent as the world. She definitely couldn't imitate such an aura. I'm at ascension state now, Chen Zhao said. Or rather, half a step to it. In an instant, Daoist Master Qing Ping recalled the strange phenomenon that day. Then, he found Ling Yun for a divination. His thoughts were clear now and he understood the cause and effect. Fellow Daoist Qin, with your current cultivation, you're worthy of being number one in the world. What's so good about being number one in the world? Before I broke through, I was also number one in the world. Ling Yun didn't know what Shangqing state was, but she couldn't believe it when she heard Daoist Master Qing Ping say that he was number one in the world. The man in front of her was only a few years older than her. How could he bear the title of number one in the world? Moreover, there was also the Supreme Celestial Master of the Celestial Master sect of Longhu Mountain. With him around, who would dare to say that they were number one in the world? Therefore, to Ling Yun, Daoist Master Qing Ping's words were too exaggerated. Chen Zhao's words were even more arrogant. He was number one in the world before breaking through. She didn't know who gave him the courage to respond to Daoist Master Qing Ping like that. Daoist Master Qing Ping smiled bitterly. The number one in the world she was talking about was different from the number one in the world Chen Zhao was talking about. She was talking about Chen Zhao's current cultivation, while Chen Zhao was talking about his combat ability. Chapter 29-36. When Chen Zhao left, he estimated in his heart. Spiritual Master Qingping's cultivation was clearly much lower than Zhang Tianyi's. He was probably about the same as Blood Mary 23 in the past. However, Blood Mary had become a god now. She couldn't be measured by their standards. She should be much stronger than Bifla. Chen Zhao, Zhang Tianyi, Blood Mary 23, and Bifla formed a small group. Chen Zhao's cultivation and power were undoubtedly the highest. Zhang Tianyi was second, but even Chen Zhao didn't dare to say that he could definitely win against Zhang Tianyi. Zhang Tianyi had too many tricks and was too unfathomable. If Chen Zhao faced Zhang Tianyi head-on, he was confident that even if there were 10 Zhang Tianyi, he could still beat Zhang Tianyi like a kid. But if it was a real battle, no one would face Chen Zhao head-on. Especially since Zhang Tianyi knew Chen Zhao very well. Bifla's cultivation was the lowest. He'd only been in the Shangqing realm for less than half a year. But he was also the most special. He'd lived for 470 years. He was so knowledgeable that the other three combined probably couldn't compare to him. In the spiritual world, knowledge often represented power. It could be transformed into power. So, no matter how low his cultivation was, he still had power that couldn't be ignored. Spiritual Master Qingping and the four of them were probably still lacking. Do you want to come in yourself, or do you want me to force you in? Chen Zhao took out an empty bottle. It was a normal empty bottle. White Candle was obedient, or rather timid. A wave of white smoke flowed into the empty bottle. Chen Zhao glanced at He Yu. Looks like you're not going to cooperate. Sir. Don't rush. It's not that I don't want to go in. I'm afraid that the bottle can't hold my body. I can turn into nothingness, but I'm not bad. I'm afraid. He Yu had been beaten up by Chen Zhao, but he still couldn't help but brag. He Yu looked rather wretched, but he still looked sinister and cunning. Sir, since no one can see me, why don't you let me follow you in the outside world and help you do some things? Of course, He Yu didn't really want to help him. He just wanted to find a chance to escape. That's good. I've eaten many mutants. Today, I'll try what a divine beast's twin brother tastes like. Tell me. Chen Zhao studied He Yu. I'll eat one of your legs today. He Yu trembled in fright and turned into black smoke, charging into the bottle. The black and white smoke in the bottle intertwined for a while, and finally, the white smoke was squeezed into a corner. If you dare swallow white candle again, I'll beat you until your stomach bleeds. As expected, the black gas in the bottle became obedient at Chen Zhao's words. He had yet to recover from being beaten up by Chen Zhao, and now Chen Zhao had forcefully spat out white candle, making him incomparably weak. I didn't hear you clearly. You might have a granddaughter. What are you talking about? Li Qing's tone had changed. I'm going to your room to find a hair or something, Chen Zhao said. The girl that your senior mentioned is in my hands now. I'm going to use your hair to test your blood relationship with her. All right. Go now. Li Qing's face was filled with impatience. After all, to a loner like her, there was nothing more exciting than knowing that she had someone who was so close to her by blood. I'll come back now. Don't rush. I'll let you know as soon as I hear anything. No, I believe she wouldn't lie to me, Li Qing said. I want to see my granddaughter as soon as possible. Chapter 29:37. I know a good restaurant. Let's go eat there tonight. Is that restaurant yours? Chen Zhao asked. No, the building it's in is mine. Unlike Chen Zhao, who liked to buy restaurants, Dell liked to buy buildings. Let's go to my cafeteria first, Chen Zhao said. Why are we going there? Something. Okay. Dell drove to Chen Zhao's cafeteria. When the car stopped outside the cafeteria, Chen Zhao made a call. Carrie, come out for a while. I'm outside. A while later, Carrie came out. From her movements, it was obvious that she was on guard against Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao rolled down the window and looked at Carrie. Come here. Carrie stood before the car, still in that cautious and guarded posture. Come closer, can't you? Go ahead, Carrie said, dissatisfied. I can hear you. Chen Zhao's expression darkened. He grabbed Carrie's neck and pressed her down. Ah, it hurts. Carrie felt like her neck was about to break. The next moment, Chen Zhao pulled out a strand of Carrie's hair and pushed her away. Dell was shocked. Chen, what are you doing? Driving. Carrie looked in the direction of the car and started cursing. Chen Zhao ignored Carrie's cursing. What about now? Where are we going? Hospital, Chen Zhao said. Hospital? Are you sick? Wait, you're a doctor, right? Chen Zhao shook the hair in the bottle. Paternity test. That woman is your daughter. No. Even if she's related to you, she's only your sister. She's not related to me, Chen Zhao said calmly. Then who is she related to? You'll know in the future. Before everything came to an end, Chen Zhao didn't want to tell anyone other than Li Qing about this. Okay. Dell didn't ask further. But from Chen Zhao's words, the woman might be related to someone he knew. After arriving at the hospital, Chen Zhao asked for help. It was an urgent paternity test. Originally, it would take at least 3 days. Under Chen Zhao's request, the center promised that they would give a result within 24 hours at most. Chen Zhao was an impatient person and hoped to get information as soon as possible. However, the DNA test couldn't come out immediately as Chen Zhao had hoped. After all, paternity tests required manual data analysis and comparison. Chen Zhao looked at the night view outside the window. The restaurant was on the rooftop of the building. There was only a roof for shelter. However, this also added to the restaurant's style. Out of habit, Chen Zhao estimated the price of this restaurant. Putting aside the restaurant's brand, the restaurant's renovation, location, quality of employees, and other factors added together were estimated to be worth around $10 million US. Don't think that every restaurant can be worth tens of millions of dollars. In fact, there were only about 10 restaurants in Los Angeles that were worth tens of millions of dollars. Of course, it wasn't like he had to buy every restaurant he saw. Even if Chen Zhao wanted to buy it, the owner might not necessarily sell it. Chen Zhao was confident that he was richer, but that didn't mean that he had more influence. Just then, he saw a familiar figure. No, it wasn't familiarity. To Chen Zhao, it was a deep impression. Bader, the god of light in Norse mythology. He was also the first person who could escape from Chen Zhao after using his full strength. Bader had his own girlfriend today. When he entered the restaurant with her, he also noticed Chen Zhao. The moment their eyes met, Bader's expression stiffened. It seemed that he was also very surprised to see Chen Zhao here. Bader whispered a few words to his female companion, who then walked over to the empty table. Bader walked toward Chen Zhao. "Hi, Mr. Chen." Chen Zhao looked at Bader. "Did you appear before me on purpose? Or is it a coincidence? Are you looking for me?" A strange expression appeared on Bader's face. "If you're looking for me, I suggest you kill everyone in your intelligence department. I actually don't feel anyone looking for me." Chen Zhao's face darkened. Fine, he didn't have an intelligence department at all. In fact, only Bayfla's Flame Worship and 23rd Blood Mary Scarlet Church had a complete intelligence network. Because they thought that Bader wasn't in Los Angeles, he should be in another area. Thus, there were almost no intelligence agents in Los Angeles. This was the so-called darkest place under the light. In fact, Bader was right under their noses. "Chen, is he your friend?" Dell asked. "Not really." Chen Zhao glanced at Bader. "Mr. Bader, how about we arrange a time to meet?" Slightly hesitant, Bader said, "I need to think about it." "I can guarantee your safety and freedom," Chen Zhao said. "Give me your contact number. I'll get back to you after thinking about it." Bader wasn't worried that Chen Zhao would fight him here. Although they were all existences that surpassed the extreme, they all followed the rules. They definitely wouldn't fight in public like this. Fine. Chen Zhao gave Bader a name card with his private number. Glancing at Bader's girlfriend, who wasn't far away, he asked, "Is she the same as you?" "No, my new girlfriend." Smiling, Bader shrugged. "Okay, I need to go. Goodbye." After Bader returned to his girlfriend's side, Dell asked, "Who's that?" "How should I put it? We're not friends or enemies. We fought before, but he couldn't beat me and I couldn't kill him. Then, we both tacitly lost interest in fighting." What's the relationship?" "Okay, let's not talk about him." "How's Faith?" "She learned a few spells from her master," Dell said helplessly. "She's messed up the house. I plan to send her to kindergarten, but I'm worried that she'll be discovered using spells there." Faith was far more talented than Dell, but she was still too young. She was almost 4 years old now. This was also why Dell was conflicted. "Why don't I introduce a kindergarten to you? I've invested in it. It's run by a couple. They're the same kind of people as us. My children are in the kindergarten too. Even if Faith uses spells in the kindergarten, the couple will cover it up for her." "Really? That'd be best." Chen Zhao took out a name card and handed it to Dell. Dell finally smiled. It seemed that Faith's problem was troubling him too. "You can contact them tomorrow. Also, go to the kindergarten to see the environment and talk to the couple." 9 Heaven's Divine Emperor. Chapter 2938. That night, Bader agreed to meet Qin Zhao. But it was only limited to Qin Zhao. No one else could come. Bader seemed to know. A few terrifying beings had been active in Los Angeles recently. Bader was probably panicking too. After all, even if he had an immortal body, it didn't mean he couldn't be defeated. Or rather, he couldn't be sealed. The strongest aspect of the human race was their sealing abilities. Since ancient times, countless terrifying beings had tried to overturn the world. However, only a small number of those terrifying existences were killed. Most of them had been stuffed into the sewers. The few that could come out had lost 70 to 80% of their power. Bader had been in the human world for a long time. He knew that there had always been top beings that could fight against gods. He also knew that almost every top-notch expert had a few sealing spells in their hands. Therefore, from ancient times until now, the devil incarnate was either killed or sealed. There was rarely a precedent of a top human being being killed. This was because the human race had mastered the almost shameless sealing technique. If they could win, they would fight. If they couldn't, they would act shamelessly. Actually, sealing spells weren't rare among the strong. But most of them used the strong to seal the weak or the same level. Humans, on the other hand, could use the weak to seal the strong. This was a headache for the powerful figures. Bader had agreed to meet Qin Zhao because he knew some of Qin Zhao's stories. He knew that Qin Zhao wasn't good at sealing spells. That was why he agreed. Of course, Bader and Qin Zhao weren't related, nor did they have any friendship. On the contrary, they had some small conflicts. They weren't big enemies, but they weren't friends either. There was a certain risk in meeting Qin Zhao. Thus, Qin Zhao guessed that Bader probably had his own requests. As for whether the encounter at the restaurant tonight was a coincidence or not, it didn't matter. As long as Bader had a request, it was fine. Then everything was fine. The next day, Qin Zhao arrived. It was the same restaurant as yesterday. But the restaurant hadn't opened yet. So, apart from the two of them, there were no other customers. Bader was very careful. First, he used his senses to confirm if there were any other people around. Once he sensed that there was an aura in the surroundings that made him feel uneasy, he would immediately flee. After confirming that everything was normal, Bader walked out with a smile. "Mr. Qin, I'm glad you can keep your appointment." Qin Zhao nodded and replied with a smile. "Sit down," he said. There was no host or guest here. After the two of them sat down, the waiter brought over a bottle of red wine and 2 goblets. "Are you familiar with the boss here?" "I'm the boss here," Bader said. "I've been out in the world for 100 years and have accumulated some wealth." Qin Zhao shrugged. He didn't mind. After all, even he had accumulated an extremely rich net worth in the past few years. Not to mention Bader, who had walked the human world for 100 years. If ordinary cultivators and spirit controllers were short of money, then it would be different. Then at their level, basically, they would no longer be bound by money. Even if they were dead, there would be people willing to give them large amounts of money as offerings. He only hoped that when they were in trouble, he would pay some attention to them. Just like Zhang Tianyi, he had no money. But when he wanted money, he just had to say that he was short of money for online shopping. Then, a large wave of rich people would come up to him and lick his boots. "I came to find you because I have a request." "You agreed to meet me because you have a request too, right?" Qin Zhao finally broached the main topic. "Not long ago, one of your friends became a god. Based on my understanding of the Olympian gods, they had a huge flaw when they built their divine kingdom. Your friend must have the same problem now. You're looking for me because of her, right?" Bader easily deduced why Chen Zhao was looking for him based on the information he knew. You're looking for me because of her, right? Chen Zhao nodded. There was nothing to deny. Since they were already on the negotiation table, there was no point in hiding anymore. However, Chen Zhao really didn't know much about Bader. So, he didn't know Bader's purpose. Then can you provide a perfect way to build a divine kingdom? Chen Zhao asked. Bader shook his head. The Olympians' method of building a divine kingdom has a huge flaw, but it's not completely unfixable. The Asur race's method fixes the flaw, but it's much weaker than the Olympians. So, in terms of combat power, the Olympians are actually much stronger than us. Bader paused and looked at Chen Zhao. You can ask your friend. If he's willing to accept our method of building a divine kingdom, then the deal is done. Which is better? There's no comparison. Let's put it this way. The Olympians' divine kingdoms have unparalleled combat power, but they're extremely unstable. After a big battle, they might need to be repaired. To repair the damage, they need fragments of the divine kingdom. So, the Olympians are destined to have fewer and fewer gods. If a new god wants to become a real god, they need fragments of the divine kingdom. A big battle also needs fragments of the divine kingdom. Where can we get so many fragments? Of course, it's fragments of the same kind or from other gods. This is an endless cycle. They're not suitable for continuous divine wars, but they also need to keep fighting for fragments of the divine kingdom. The Asur race's divine kingdoms are relatively more stable. They won't need to be repaired after a big battle, but the price is a divine war of the same level. In a one-on-one situation, it's almost impossible for us to fight the Olympians. Chapter 29-39. Chen Zhao saw Bader's determination. He didn't say anything else to express his sincerity. Instead, he picked up the phone and dialed 23rd Blood Mary's number. Blood Mary, I found the God of Light. He's willing to trade with us, but the Asur god's method of building a divine kingdom isn't perfect. Can I see him for a moment? He doesn't want to see you. Chen Zhao glanced at Bader and then said, or, you can talk like this. Bader nodded and took the phone. I'm Bader, Asur God of Light. After a while, Bader ended the call with 23rd Blood Mary. The phone returned to Chen Zhao's hand. Chen Zhao continued talking to 23rd Blood Mary. You agree to the deal. You can decide the price, 23rd Blood Mary said. Ares, that sly old bastard, didn't tell the whole truth even at death's door. He didn't say that the Olympians' divine kingdom had such a huge flaw. It had to be repaired after every battle. Moreover, the repair required fragments of the divine kingdom. Obviously, the 23rd Blood Mary had planned to use Ares's divine kingdom to build her own divine kingdom. If the 23rd Blood Mary were to get into a fight with someone, her divine kingdom might be damaged as a result. Of course, from Ares' point of view, there was nothing wrong with him doing this. But from Chen Zhao's point of view, this was clearly an unacceptable lie. So, they had to settle the score later. But before that, they had to solve 23rd Blood Mary's problem. After hanging up, Chen Zhao looked at Bader. Okay, tell me your request. Right now, it was only a one-sided agreement. Bader hadn't said his request yet. If Chen Zhao's group couldn't give him what Bader needed, then the deal couldn't be reached. Bader looked at Chen Zhao with a smile. Then he pushed a contract in black and white before Chen Zhao. This is our religious contract. If you sign it, I can get the money first. Chen Zhao looked at Bader in disdain. Do you think I'm stupid? If he signed the contract, Chen Zhao wouldn't even have a place to cry if Bader made any unreasonable requests. Let's be more direct, Chen Zhao said. Tell me what you want. If you have it, we'll trade. If not, we'll call it a day. Bader smiled awkwardly. He was just trying his luck. If Chen Zhao really fell for it, it would be a big win. Bader was about to speak when Chen Zhao suddenly interrupted. You'd better weigh the price first before making your own request. While the Asgard divine race's method of building a divine kingdom is precious, it's not unique, right? Moreover, this method is only a substitute. If you plan to get rich this way, you'd better stop the transaction now. Bader was about to speak when Chen Zhao suddenly interrupted him. My request is very simple. Help me obtain the soul of Asgard. What is it? The soul of Asgard. The Asgard from the Women's Federation movie. Of course it's not some alien race. Before becoming a god, the Asgard gods were all humans. Of course, it's a different story for a god's descendant like me. Bader said, Asgard is an alternate dimension created by the Aesir gods for generations. In your human understanding, it can be said to be the realm of gods. Then what's the soul of Asgard? It's Odin's soul. As the king of the Aesir gods, Odin inherited the throne of Asgard and also became the soul of Asgard. I still don't understand. What exactly is it? A human soul. Simply put, Asgard is a place, and Odin is a person, or a god. You can think of Asgard as Odin's territory, his private territory, and this territory, which is Asgard, can be given or inherited. You want the soul of Asgard, or Odin, because you want to inherit Asgard. Yes, but you don't have to worry. Odin has already fallen, but his soul is bound to Asgard, so it still exists. He doesn't have a consciousness and isn't as powerful as when he was alive. No matter what you say, it's hard for you to convince me to fight against the king of gods in Norse mythology with a mere method of building a divine kingdom. Chen Zhao looked at Balder meaningfully. Also, he's your father, right? Odin's relationship with me isn't important. I'm not close to him either. After all, my bloodline is more like my mother's, the Vanir gods, Bader said disapprovingly. Odin isn't as powerful as you think. Plus, he's only a remnant soul now. If not for Asgard's protection, he would have disappeared completely long ago. No, the name Odin has already determined the unfairness of this deal. Chen Zhao wouldn't believe Bader's words. Bader himself was already so difficult to deal with. As the king of gods, Odin definitely wasn't weak either. Otherwise, Bader would have done it himself. Would he still need external help? What else do you want? Bader asked. I don't know. Like Thor's hammer or something. Hearing Chen Zhao's words, Bader was so angry that he almost laughed. Mjolnir is the symbol of Asgard's heir. Only someone with the qualifications and potential of a king can lift the hammer. So, even if it's placed before you, you won't be able to lift it. Of course, the main problem is that if I can take out Mjolnir, why would I need you? I'll just place the hammer before Odin's soul. So, I'll take the risk to help you get Odin's soul and the entire divine realm. What can I get? There are many, many treasures in Odin's treasury, some of which are beyond your imagination. If you succeed, I can give you a chance to pick any 3 of them. Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes and looked at Bader. I need help. I can't do it alone. Also, I want all of us to have 3 chances. Chen Zhao didn't trust Bader, so he had to be wary of Bader's sneak attacks. If he was alone, Chen Zhao couldn't guarantee that Bader wouldn't sneak attack him after he dealt with Odin's soul. So, Chen Zhao was also looking for a reliable comrade. Impossible. There are many treasures in Odin's treasury, but not as many as you think. I'll feel heartache if I give away one more. 3 is already my limit. Okay, looks like our negotiation has failed. Cancel the deal. Chapter 2940. Wait a minute. 4. I'll give you 4 chances to choose your treasures. You should know that the treasures in Odin's collection are at least divine artifacts. Chen Zhao shook his head with a smile. The number of choices wasn't important. The key was that he did not trust Bader. To go to Asgard alone with Bader. They even wanted to go against their god king. Chen Zhao would have to be crazy to accept this mission. In particular, Bader did not allow him to bring any companions. No matter how he looked at it, it looked like Balder was planning to set him up. Bader frowned at him. Chen Zhao, on the other hand, was extremely relaxed. In any case, the real deal was with the 23rd generation Blood Mary. Besides, she didn't really need the Asa divine races method. The Olympians' method of building a divine kingdom was not entirely impossible. There was no doubt that Bader was looking for him because of his battle prowess. This was what he was most confident about. Even if Bader searched the entire world, he probably wouldn't be able to find another person who could compare to Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao felt that it was illogical for Bader to reject his request. Logically speaking, the more helpers he had, the higher his chances of success would be. Shouldn't Bader be happier? But he actually rejected Chen Zhao's request because he was stingy about treasures that didn't even belong to him. Wasn't this too illogical? Therefore, Chen Zhao couldn't help but guess that Balder's intentions weren't as simple as he'd said. By the way, one last question. What problem? Is there really a rainbow bridge in Asgard? No. Bader replied with a black face. Okay, thank you for the meal. I hope I'll treat you next time. Chen Zhao stood up, planning to leave. Mr. Chen, why don't you reconsider? Alright, I'll think about it when I get back. Then he turned and left. Bader watched Chen Zhao's back as he left. Of course, he was furious and disappointed. No matter how amiable and approachable he usually seemed. But he was still a god, a high and mighty god. Being rejected by a mortal was indeed an affront to his dignity. Of course, Chen Zhao's power made him helpless. She was furious, but she couldn't do anything to him. It was a terrible feeling. Chen Zhao often gave others this feeling of helplessness. After Chen Zhao left, he went to meet up with the other 3. Seeing Chen Zhao, the 23rd Blood Mary immediately went up and asked impatiently. What do you think? Is the deal complete? Chen Zhao looked at the 23rd Blood Mary in her infant form. She floated in the air, looking like something out of a supernatural movie. Chen Zhao shook his head and told him the whole story. What do you think? There's a problem here, Zhang Tianyi said. The problem is very big. Bifla also said, under normal circumstances, even if this is a request, even if he has other thoughts, he shouldn't have rejected it so obviously. It's so obvious that others can immediately sense the problem. So, he's either playing hard to get, or after rejecting your request, he'll raise the conditions slightly later. Although the 23rd Blood Mary was disappointed, she understood that there was a huge problem with Bader's teachings. The 23rd generation Blood Mary frowned and said, no matter what, you have to stick to your request. The 3 of us must go with you. It's a pity that we don't have enough information. We can't figure out what the God of Light's goal is. The 4 guessed that Bader's goal wasn't simple. After all, it was a very obvious choice. Bader's ultimate goal was Asgard. Logically speaking, as long as he could achieve his goal, he shouldn't reject any conditions within a certain range. He shouldn't bargain with Chen Zhao. At least, Chen Zhao felt that his request wasn't too much. He didn't ask Bader to give him half of Asgard after the deal was done. If he asked for a few more items from Odin's collection, it would hurt Bader's heart. That could only mean that Bader was too insincere. Or rather, Bader's goal wasn't that simple. Chen Zhao looked at the 23rd Blood Mary. What's your plan? In the twilight of the gods, Odin was actually bitten to death by the demon wolf Fenrir. Perhaps the legend isn't completely true, but it definitely represents a part of the truth. I've fought with the demon wolf Fenrir. Perhaps it wasn't its full power, but it definitely wasn't at a hopeless level. I think that even at its peak, I can still beat it. From this, we can deduce that Odin, the king of the gods, is actually pitifully weak. At least, none of the four of us will lose to him. The 23rd Blood Mary continued. From this, we can see that while the Asgard divine kingdom is stable, its combat ability is pitifully low. It feels like a small world for a normal cultivator who reaches the Shang-Qing state, mediocre and weak. So, even if this deal is completed and I get the method to build the Asgard divine kingdom, I still need to reconsider. Chen Zhao nodded. Indeed, even someone as strong as the 23rd Blood Mary wouldn't be able to accept becoming mediocre all of a sudden. Those who stood at the top of the pyramid would definitely not be able to accept falling down one day. The 23rd Blood Mary was like this, and so was Chen Zhao. But even without the divine kingdom, it's best if Bader's deal can continue. Find Asgard and the divine realm in Norse mythology. Perhaps there'll be some unexpected rewards. The 23rd Blood Mary's eyes shone with a fanatical light. Chen Zhao, Zhang Tianyi, and Biflo all revealed dangerous gazes. Bader might have been up to no good at the start of the deal. But they weren't good people either. If Bader had the intention of tricking Chen Zhao, then he'd definitely found the wrong target. As long as you're strong enough, you don't have to be afraid of anyone tricking you, the 23rd Blood Mary said. Without a doubt, Chen Zhao definitely had the right to say this now. Because he was now the most powerful existence in the world. Of course, he wasn't strong enough to face all schemes, but at least he was strong enough to defeat any enemy. Chapter 2941. Hey, Chen, the results are out. Well, what's the result? Yes, they are indeed related by blood. They should be close relatives within 3 generations. The accuracy is 99.5%, For said. Do you want to come get the test report? I'll go get it later. By the way, is the identification expert in your hospital here? His schedule is tight, but if it's you, he should be happy to meet you. Not only was Chen Zhao an honorary doctor, but he was also one of the shareholders. No doctor in the hospital would refuse to meet Chen Zhao. Before going to the hospital, he went to the airport first. Soon, Li Qing and Ethan came out of the airport. Ethan didn't look too good. He also learned the reason yesterday. Although he was happy that Li Qing was able to find her family. But he had ruined the holiday. Chen Zhao, is there any news from the hospital? Li Qing asked anxiously. Okay, let's talk in the car, Chen Zhao said. After the two got in, Chen Zhao started the car and glanced at Li Qing in the back seat. Big Sister Qing, the hospital has already given the results of the test. The DNA comparison has confirmed that he is a close relative within 3 generations. The accuracy is 99.5%. Hearing that, Li Qing was so excited that she almost fainted. I've made an appointment with an expert. I'll go to the hospital to get the DNA comparison report and talk to the expert. Okay. Where is my granddaughter now? She's working at my cafeteria now, Chen Zhao said. Li Qing arrived at the hospital with anticipation and uneasiness in her heart and met the expert. This was because there was a step in DNA identification that required manual comparison and analysis. Therefore, appraisal experts would analyze the computer comparison results at this step. The accuracy of the computer comparison was 99.5%. In fact, the accuracy of the appraisal experts was much higher than this figure. Of course, an appraisal expert would not tell you that it was 100% accurate. In fact, the appraisal result was infinitely close to 100%. Li Qing was so excited that tears streamed down her cheeks. Whether it was the East or the West, there would always be an indescribable feeling towards blood relatives. It was a feeling quite different from love, but more warm and soothing. This was especially true for Li Qing. "Chen Zhao, I want to see her. I'll take you there." The car stopped outside the cafeteria. Li Qing's eyes were hazy as she silently looked at Carrie in the restaurant. "Li, aren't you going in to talk to her?" "Tell her who you are," Ethan urged. "I'm not ready yet." Li Qing hesitated. "What's there to hesitate about? She's your granddaughter." "No. Let me think again. Chen Zhao, is she doing well?" Chen Zhao hesitated for a moment before answering. "As far as I know, her life isn't very good. This is what I found out yesterday. It's not very comprehensive." Li Qing took the information from Chen Zhao. This made her feel even more disappointed and guilty. Carrie's mother had passed away in an accident when she was 5 years old. In the past, Carrie had spent most of her time in the orphanage. Another year was spent in juvenile detention for burglary. Ever since Chen Zhao picked Li Qing up from the airport, she hadn't stopped crying. Suddenly, Li Qing seemed to sense something. Chen Zhao, did she also come into contact with the supernatural world? Her great-grandmother came into contact with her. Now, she's followed by a thing called Wu-Wu. Li Qing's brows relaxed. The divine beast Wu-Wu. That was her father's guardian beast. The 100-beast steel is the holy artifact of the Mao Shan sect, but it's always been under the control of the Qingyi sect. Because they all came from the same source, there were many things that couldn't be clearly distinguished. "Chen Zhao, can I ask you something?" "Auntie Li, please. Be her master." Chen Zhao's teeth hurt. "You've already discussed this, right?" Chen Zhao didn't believe in fate. But this was what Sage Qingping had told him. He'd said that Carrie was destined to be his disciple. If someone else had made this request, Chen Zhao wouldn't have agreed. But it was Li Qing who'd made it. "Okay." Chen Zhao's answer was simple and direct. "Auntie Li, my understanding of spells might not be as deep as yours. What I have might not be suitable for her either. Can't you teach her yourself? She can't join the Qingyi sect, and I can't let her join the Mao Mountain either. I've had enough of the mutual deceit of these sections. The bigger the sect, the more tragic the fights. My whole family died in the fights within the sect. I don't want her to be the next victim." Li Qing actually didn't want Chen Zhao to be Carrie's master. She wanted him to be her protector. The only person Li Qing could trust and had the ability to protect Carrie was Chen Zhao. So, she could only beg Chen Zhao. "Let's go in and eat. Also, talk to her," Chen Zhao said. Li Qing hesitated and hesitated again. "Let's go," Ethan said. "I'm hungry too. Plus, this is Chen's restaurant. It'll be a waste if we don't eat." After entering the restaurant, they found a place and sat down. The waiter immediately came over. "Boss, do you need my service?" "Go and call Carrie over," Chen Zhao said. Carrie walked over to Chen Zhao, annoyed. "Boss. These two are my friends. Ask them what they need. Boss, this is a buffet restaurant. Chen Zhao glared at Carrie. Carrie immediately gave in. He looked at Li Qing. Madam, do you need help? No, no. Thank you. Li Qing said, holding back the urge to cry. Sir, I don't need it. I'll get it myself. Go and get another set of cutlery. Come and sit, Chen Zhao said in a commanding tone. Boss, I've eaten. If you don't listen, you might not eat for the next 3 days. Carrie was helpless. She obediently followed Chen Zhao's request and sat down at the table. Carrie felt that it was a bit strange. The Asian woman seemed to be staring at her. Madam, is there a problem? No, nothing. How long have you been in contact with those things? Those things. Oh. Carrie immediately realized that the woman was also a kindred spirit. She discovered her uniqueness, so she kept staring at her. Just a few days. Have you seen an evil spirit before? Yes. I was scared the first time, Carrie said. Were you scared the first time you saw it? Yes, Li Qing said, pointing at Chen Zhao. Anyone would be scared the first time, including him. Auntie Li, did I tell you about my first encounter with an evil spirit? Chapter 2942. Li Qing and Carrie seemed to get along well. Jiao Liwen's saliva flew everywhere as she spoke, and Li Qing looked at her with a gaze full of enthusiasm. Don't you want to eat something? Oh, okay. Waiter, bring some food over. The waiter, do you have a boyfriend? No. 2 years ago, there was a guy who chased after me. He was a gangster from my place. Because I rejected him, he brought people to block my door. In the end, I chased him away with my hunting gun. After that, no one else dared to pursue me. Carrie proudly recounted her glorious history. Li Qing nodded with a smile and glanced at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao nodded slightly, indicating that he got it. He already called Li Qing sister. And now, he'd agreed to be Carrie's master. Of course, he couldn't reject this small favor. This is my contact number. You can contact me if you need anything in the future. Can I also find you if I have magic problems? There's someone stronger than me here, Li Qing said. Maybe the strongest. Him? Carrie asked, pointing at Ethan. No, him, Ethan said with a dark expression. He's been eating the whole time. Why do you think I'm the strongest? Did I suddenly have an aura too? Carrie looked at Chen Zhao in disdain. Because of her first impression, Carrie didn't like Chen Zhao at all. Of course, Chen Zhao didn't have a good impression of Carrie either. Chen Zhao saw that the grandfather and grandson were chatting happily, so he didn't interrupt. Carrie was also very talkative. Li Qing was a good listener most of the time. Where do you live now? Carrie told him an address. Just then, Ethan frowned. That's not a good place. You should find another place. First, you have to have money. Carrie said, glancing at Chen Zhao. First, you have to pay back the money you owe me. Li Qing didn't say anything. Right now, Chen Zhao was Carrie's master. Therefore, he had the most right to speak. After all, they were master and disciple in a Chinese sect, not teacher and student. When a disciple had a master, the master was the greatest. Of course, Carrie hadn't become his disciple yet. But was that important? Carrie was off work. Perhaps the manager thought that Chen Zhao was related to Carrie. Therefore, he was still polite to her. He didn't give her any excessive work assignments either. So, after the restaurant's opening hours ended, Carrie was released. Jia Liwen didn't like Qin Zhao. However, she felt that using Qin Zhao's identity to make things easier for herself was not a bad idea. Just as she was about to flag down a taxi, a business car suddenly stopped in front of her. "Miss Carrie, please get in." "Who are you?" Jia Liwen realized that she did not recognize the people in the car. Everyone in the car was wearing black suits and sunglasses. Jia Liwen speculated maliciously. Driving in the middle of the night with sunglasses on, was he not afraid of getting into an accident? "We're your kind." "Let me introduce myself, I'm Brits." "Same kind." "I don't understand what you're saying." "Miss Carrie, we don't have any bad intentions. We're an organization, a spiritualist organization. We're here to invite you to join us. Of course, it's voluntary, so we want you to get to know our companions. Whether you accept our invitation or not, there's no harm in knowing a few of your kind, right?" Jia Liwen thought for a moment. "How do you know about me?" "In the past few days, you've destroyed at least 3 evil spirits every night. It's hard not to attract our attention with such frequent movements." Jia Liwen was a bit hesitant, so Brits continued. "Miss Carrie, to be honest, there's nothing worth lying to you. You're still very weak right now. You've probably just awakened. Do you have a guide? If not, your future achievements will be very limited, and we have investigated your information. You are very poor, so poor that you can't even afford a second-hand car. So, with your current terrible situation, do you think there is a need to worry about a situation worse than this?" "You're right." Jia Liwen was also a tomboy. After thinking for a moment, she still got in the car. However, Jia Liwen was still vigilant. She was ready to summon Shogo at any moment. The car drove further and further into a remote area, which made Jia Liwen feel a little scared. But then, the car drove to the front of a mountain. The mountain slowly opened up, just like a mysterious and modern base in a sci-fi movie. The car then drove into the opened entrance of the mountain. Jia Liwen then saw an underground base that gave off a technological feeling. This base hidden inside the mountain was the new base of the psionic team. This base had more than 100 official members of the psionic team and around 1,000 logistics team. There were also all kinds of machinery or a mixture of machinery and magic. Jia Liwen had already forgotten about the danger. She was full of curiosity about everything here. It was like Granny Lu entering the Grandview Garden. Along the way, Brits gave a brief introduction about the psionic team. Of course, the most important thing was the psionic team's abundant funding. Looking at the surrounding base, one could see how abundant the psionic team's capital was. And how powerful the psionic team was. Jia Liwen was tempted. However, the biggest problem had yet to be solved. Brits had yet to get to the most important problem. The problem of personal benefits. Jia Liwen was a little distracted after listening to Brits's boast. She had been waiting for Brits to get to the point. However, Brits was still blabbering on and on. He had no intention of getting to the point. "Mr. Brits, what about my benefits? Our psionic team is a big family, but we still have a strict and clear division of ranks, as well as a reward system for completing missions. In other words, the level you are at, the difficulty you complete, and the number of missions you complete are all clearly divided. What kind of salary can I get at a rank like mine? What kind of monsters can you deal with at the moment?" Brits asked. "Monsters? I've only dealt with evil spirits. What kind of monsters are you talking about?" Jia Liwen asked, a little scared. "Miss Jia Liwen, I'm afraid you can only carry out the lowest F-rank missions, and the reward for F-rank missions is at most $100 per mission. What? Why so little? I've been doing more than that myself. Last time, a little girl offered $500. You're such a big organization and you're only offering $100. Chapter 29:43. Brits could already feel the distrust in Carrie's eyes. Her eyes seemed to be saying, "Are you treating me like a laborer or a fool?" Brits had no choice. The psionic team was indeed large. However, most of the funds were still invested in the base and the senior members. F-level missions were $100, E-level missions were $500, D-level missions were $2,000, C-level missions were $8,000, B-level missions were $50,000, and A-level missions were $300,000. S-level missions were $3 million. This was how the psionic team divided the rewards for different levels of missions. The rewards for low-level missions were generally lower than the market price, while the rewards for high-level missions were generally higher. They were using the money saved from low-level missions to subsidize high-level missions. In fact, giving such a high reward for high-level missions was also to attract strong people to join their psionic team. Of course, Brits could not say that her current reward was higher than those experts. He looked at Carrie seriously. Right now, you are not just carrying out a mission. What you need is to strengthen yourself, and we can provide you with help and resources in this regard. Once your strength is increased, you won't have to worry about why low-level missions have such low rewards. The rewards for high-level missions will definitely be so rich that you can't imagine it. Of course, the rewards for high-level missions were indeed very tempting. But the key problem was that high-level missions were also very difficult. From C-level onwards, it basically required teamwork. Last month, for example, they had completed an A-level mission, 4 B-level missions, and several missions below B-level. They had indeed accepted an S-level mission, but it had ended in failure. 4 teams had carried out an S-level mission together, but in the end, 2 teams had been completely wiped out, 1 team had been half crippled, and 1 team had been heavily injured. Even the employer had died because the mission had failed. This also made the higher-ups of the psionic team realize that their team was really not strong enough. They had received information that their old rival, the Supernatural Society. Last month, they had received 3 S-level missions. All of them had been carried out as individual teams, and all of them had been completed successfully. One of them had been able to easily complete S-level and above missions. The other had tried their best to complete S-level missions, but they had all ended in failure. From this, the difference in strength between the 2 organizations could be clearly felt. Of course, in the eyes of the higher-ups of the psionic team, this was because they had a lot of people and their strength was mixed. There was also a classification of strength that wasn't very accurate. Some looked strong, but in reality, their combat strength was average, and they were ranked very high. As for those who hid their strength, or those who could only display their strength in actual combat, their strength was ranked at a lower level. However, after several rounds of rescreening and combat strength assessment, the combat strength of the team had increased significantly. Of course, there was a shortage of low-level members. That was why the psionic team started recruiting on a large scale. No matter how strong the spiritualist was, he had to recruit him first. As for strength, battle prowess, and potential, they would have to be screened through actual combat missions. Those who did not have potential or were not strong enough were likely to die in the first few missions or quit. Brits had not sought Carrie out because she was strong or because he saw potential in her. It was only because she was a spiritualist. That was all. Brits hoped that Carrie would grow up. But it didn't matter if he didn't grow up. After all, there were plenty of candidates. In any case, it was like a great wave washing away the sand. In the end, all that was left was real gold. Carrie was in a dilemma. She had experienced the ups and downs of her life in the past few days. First, she had obtained supernatural power. Then, her job and life had changed greatly. Through supernatural power, she had earned a lot of money. But then, she had met Chen Zhao. That road-blocking ghost. She had fallen. Now, she was faced with the same choice. As long as she joined the organization, she could get rid of that road-blocking ghost. She felt that no matter how strong Chen Zhao was, he couldn't be stronger than a large organization like the Psionic Team. Therefore, the Psionic Team would definitely be able to help her solve Chen Zhao's problem. According to Brits, she definitely didn't have enough strength right now to earn a lot of money. How long do you think I'll need to earn a lot of money? That depends on your potential. I think you have a lot of potential, but your growth isn't up to me. Based on my experience, you'll need at least a year to train. Hearing Brits's words, Carrie lowered her head and pondered in silence. Yuwu, what do you think? I think it's doable. Joining the organization can at least help you get rid of that man. A year's time is enough for you to grow to a level that everyone can only look up to. By then, even if that man appears again, you'll have enough strength to fight him. No, you'll be able to defeat him easily. Okay, I'll join the Psionic Team. Do I need to sign a contract? A contract. The demon will be the witness. Brits took out a goatskin contract and handed it to Carrie. Bite your finger and leave a fingerprint. Carrie was a bit repulsed by this obviously evil contract, but Yuwu said in her mind, don't worry. A low-level contract like this doesn't have much binding power. Even if you break it, the demon won't be very strong. With his strength, he can deal with it in minutes. The next day, Chen Zhao enjoyed his free lunch break. Just then, a call came in. It was the manager of the buffet. Boss, your call. Portia handed the phone to Chen Zhao. Who is it? Boss, I'm Sig's manager, Lai Deli. Yes, what's up? Boss, it seems that Miss Carrie resigned today. Resigned? She resigned. Chen Zhao's eyelids twitched. Is she still in the shop? No, she just called me. Okay, I got it. Chen Zhao took a deep breath and suppressed his irritation. Then he dialed Carrie's number. Miss Carrie, you'd better explain the reason for your resignation. Or do you already have enough money to compensate for the losses you caused? Fuck, Shoal, I'm not afraid of you anymore. As for your extortion, I don't care. I'm warning you, I've already joined a powerful organization. You can't threaten me. Oh. Powerful organization. Which one? Psionic Team. If you know what's good for you, don't mess with me anymore. The Psionic Team is stronger than you can imagine. Miss Carrie, I admire your courage, but this isn't over yet. Remember, no one can refuse to pay me back the money they owe me. No one. Even if you join the Vatican, you can't escape from my debt collection. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.